And welcome everybody to another EGCTV broadcast. Good afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you happen to be. I am 10 for Tim, bringing you a show match between arguably two of the best, if not the two best AoE4 players that we have. Joining me is Crackety. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing absolutely wonderful. Thank you for being here with me today, Tim. As you said, we got MarineLorD playing versus Beasty today. We got the preview for the new DLC, the Sultan's Ascent DLC, coming to you all on the 14th of November. So just 2 days remaining, but in that time, in order to kind of give you a little bit of a glimpse into a new expansion and what's to come, we got some amazing show matches for you guys right now. And starting off strong, MarineLorD versus Beasty. We can already see draft here. It's all going to be the new civilizations, and it's going to be a play all 7. So after 4 games, it's not going to be over. We're going to be having all 7 games. We're going to be seeing every single new civilization today.
Yeah, we're going to see what's nice about it. We see every new civilization not only once, but twice from either side, right? So this is going to be nice. This show match is a really nice idea for EGC to do over the weekend, because for the people that might not be up to date on some of the knowledge of these new civilizations, there's a lot of information. I don't know about you, Crackety, but over the past couple of days, I've been making notes. Like, I have papers with notes about costs of units and different technologies and all that kind of stuff. There's so much information to take in, and hopefully we'll be able to give it all to you today.
Yeah, it's a lot. I've been also enjoying the preview nonstop, like just experiencing all the new civilizations. And you guys, you're gonna be in for a real treat. 2 days remaining. It's gonna be a blast. All the new civilizations. It's all looking absolutely fantastic. Age of Empires 4 in a better. It's never been in a better spot right now. I can say that much.
Yeah, I have half a mind to agree with you. Over the past few days, I've had nothing but fun starting on Thursday playing games. I feel like every time I'm not playing this game, I'm thinking about when the next time I'm going to be able to. And actually, I think Crackety, I saw you this morning. You were playing, so you were grinding some Byzantine games, huh?
Yeah, I've been playing Byzantines, been enjoying them a whole lot recently. Japan as well. Those two civilizations look absolutely amazing. And yeah, I mean all the variant civilizations as well. It's beautiful, like all the architecture, beautiful, completely new buildings, everything like that. Um, it's a joy to play. It's a joy. Like you can go into like you build your own little base. Sure, it's like a hectic match. You're playing against some of the best players in the world, but every now and then you still kind of find yourself a little bit like staring at your city and being like, oh man, this is beautiful. And yeah, it's an absolutely gorgeous gorgeous expansion. New biomes as well. Everything just looking absolutely pretty.
I was going to say, speaking of gorgeous, talking about my favorite's been the Japanese spring biome with nice little cherry blossom trees and all that kind of stuff. It's such a good vibe. You know, it's so bright. It's such a motley map whenever you have the opportunity to play on that biome. And there's also, I mean, not only the biomes are different, the maps are different. We're going to see a bunch of different maps here today. And the first one that we are going to see between MarineLorD and Beasty is going to be Rocky River. So, Crackety, what experience have you had on Rocky River? Have you been able to play a couple games on it yet?
Yeah, I've been able to see a couple of the games there on Rocky River, so it's a little bit like a combination we've seen from previous tournament maps that've been a little bit fused. So we had Rocky Canyons and Dry River. Those maps, they've been fused together. So now we have Rocky River, which is a little bit of a combination of both. On Rocky River, you get these little ponds that spawn with like 4 or 5 little shoreline fishes there. You got enough space there to go for a little bit of a dock expansion. And yeah, it's a really active map as well. You can go for straight up aggression on these little dock spots as well. A single outpost should be able to reach every single shoreline fish there. So players are definitely going to be contesting when it comes to those food sources in the middle of the map.
Yeah, you can make for a little bit of pandemonium in Dark Age, you know, if you really want to take the battle to them. And I think one of the things that we should mention too, Japanese with these couple of ponds that are here, they might be a little bit beneficial just because of their fishing boats being a little cheaper. I think this is a good pick for Beastie on this one.
Yeah, Japan definitely really strong when it comes to all of these little bonuses that they have. Only 45 wood for every single fishing ship means that you don't need as many villagers on wood in order to constantly have your docks producing. Gives you a little bit of an edge if you want to go for like a fast feudal age with still being able to expand your economy out there on water. So yeah, just absolutely good civilization picks there. Out of the Dragon as well, we've I know that people probably aren't looking as fondly on Order of the Dragon, just looking at how they're not as unique feeling as other civilizations, but they play completely different than the normal HRE. I've seen people try to play Order of the Dragon like you would normally play HRE with varying success so far. I think you really got to play into their unique units, into their kind of unique roster of units that they have. It's similar, I feel, like how the Malians, when they first got released, like all of their units are completely unique. You gotta figure out, okay, how many units do I need to counter that one out and stuff like that. It's a similar in that regard, but it looks like we're gonna be jumping into our first game soon. It's gonna be MarineLorD versus Beasty here on Rocky River.
Oh yeah, this is going to be quite the matchup here for our introductions. We have MarineLorD in the color red playing as the Order of the Dragon, spawning in on the western side of the map. His opponent for all 7 of these games is going to be Beasty, playing in the color yellow and playing as Japan. You could see Beasty going for those straggler trees because he wants to get one of those docks as soon as possible. And there's the blueprint right smack dab in the middle. And I think Crackety, for this one, having those 4 different areas where you can dock for Japanese, just because of the fishing boats being cheaper, you can really branch out and get 2 docks as fast as possible, don't you think?
Yeah, I feel like if you compare it to the bonus from the Abbasid, as soon as you get 3 fishing ships out, it's almost like better. It is better than the wood bonus that you get as the Abbasids. So the Abbasids and the Ayubids, they only have to pay 50% for their dock. So it's 75 wood for them. And the Japanese, they pay full price for their dock, but every single fishing ship that they produce is going to be discounted by 30 wood. So it's only going to be 3 fishing ships, and you've already made up for the difference when you compare it to civilizations like the Abbasid or the Ayubid. There we go, 45 wood for every fishing ship. You got 4 shoreline fish here in each of these ponds, so you could technically go up to like 5, maybe even 6 fishing ships in each of these ponds. So the wood bonus definitely starting to mess up there.
Yeah, I think it just helps you translate, just like you said. If you wanted to get a feudal age that's a little bit quicker than your opponent, you have the ability to do that. But Order of the Dragon, I don't think is a slouch as compared to any kind of dock placement or any of that too, because they have those dragon villagers. They're a little bit more expensive. They take a little bit more time, but they operate 20% faster, so they're able to get a wood economy pretty quickly. Have you seen Order of the Dragon and the HRE? Because we know the HRE is really good in hybrid maps just because of their wood economy. Do you see Order of the Dragon following the same suit?
I've seen them played very similarly to how you would play the normal HRE variant. I gotta say that I'm personally thinking that you gotta play him differently. I think you gotta play him a little bit more aggressively. Now, with the normal HRE, you get the Archon Chapel, which boosts up your villagers' gathering speed by 40%. Normal Order of the Dragon villagers already get a buff, so they already gather 25% faster. They also build faster. But there's a difference there. With the Archon Chapel early on, you can really, really boost up your gathering speed by this extra 15%. The Archon Chapel for Order of the Dragon also gives you like a 10% boost, but in the end, I don't think it's quite as attractive for you to go for the Archon Chapel, since it's only a 10% boost on your villagers instead of like this big 40% boost that you really, really want to be going for. So I think Order of the Dragon just needs to be played a little bit more aggressively, like pumping out these really strong units in the feudal age and get some value with them on the map.
Yeah, and I think only with a couple different units from Order of the Dragon, right? If you only make like 2 or 3 units, just because of the fact that they're gilded, just because of the fact that they're a little bit stronger, even with those small ones, you're able to get map control. So maybe MarineLorD might be able to do that. And with the Minework Palace having some unique technologies, he might have the ability to do that also. Beastie a little bit more behind on the going up to feudal age. So it's probably going to be another 1.5 to 2 minutes before we see him in there.
Yeah, MarineLorD. He didn't go on to water at all. He's not going to be expanding out on water. Instead, it's going to be a straight up Minework Palace for him. We can see him going up with only 2 villagers. The reason why it's still going to be a very competitive age of timing is because, as we mentioned, that the HRE villagers, they're building a lot faster. They can carry more resources. They can build 20% faster, as Gorge showing us here as our observer, gathering resource 25% quicker. And yeah, you don't need as many villagers on the age up in order to get these really, really quick age up timings in. And Minework Palace is immediately going to give you access to potentially get some blacksmith upgrades. You don't really need them immediately, though, as Order of the Dragon, since your units already have like such a front-loaded kit with the insane stats on them. See now Beasty, he's also prepping up for an age up. It's not going to be much longer, and then he'll be able to click up as well.
Yeah, really interesting for MarineLorD as he hits Feudal. He goes with the stable really quickly, so we'll be able to get some Gilded Horsemen, and we'll be able to take a look at them too. Beasty, on the other hand, just clicked up, hit that Feudal Age button, going with the Coca Township as core is hovering over. You can produce Shinobi espionage units. Crackety, this is the first time in Age of Empires 4 that we have covert operations going on.
Exactly, the Coca Township with those Shinobi. The Shinobi is quite an interesting unit. So on hybrid maps especially, it makes sense going for the landmark. They cost 60 food, 60 gold each. They aren't really tanky. They're not designed to be tanks. They have a really, really strong melee attack. They do 20 damage by default with an extra 5 damage to other melee units. If you're able to get a lot of them out on the map, it's going to be very tough even for these Gilded Horsemen to take engagements against them. First Gilded Horseman for MarineLorD is now going out onto the map. Might be able to find that villager there, and the Gilded Horseman has a very, very strong melee attack. Beasty though, sending that villager back immediately after building that dock. Doesn't want to linger around for too long. He did see that stable, so he does know that horsemen are going to be coming out here.
Yeah, I think that's a good play from Beasty, just trying to make sure all of his villagers get preserved. That horseman, though, is rather speedy and will be able to get there. Actually using the boar as well to try to take down that Japanese villager. Going to get to about half health before the horseman catches up to it. Now, I want to talk about the Shinobi just a little bit as we're watching that villager going down. You're right, they are a flimsy unit. You know, they only have 80 health. They don't have any armor to them. I remember making the mistake the first time I saw them was I went and used my own villagers to attack it, and I lost that game very quickly.
Yeah, Shinobi. We can see it here. He's already disguised himself as one of MarineLorD's villagers, so that's always cool. You look at the map, you see a red dot, you're like, huh, that's one of my units. I don't have to be worried about that. But no, Shinobi, actually, the enemy unit. He can also use his smoke bomb ability to teleport himself. It's sort of like a blink ability. And they 3-shot villagers. 3 attacks, villagers dead. So if you get 3 of them, you teleport onto a villager. That villager is going to die really quickly. Even MarineLorD, with the Order of the Dragon villagers, they have a little bit more HP. I think they still get 3-shot by the Shinobi. I think it's only like 60 or 65 health. So should potentially still die quickly, as we see here. Shinobi's making his way over there. He could also disable one of these production buildings. And nope, he decides to go for the villager. Villager looks like he doesn't get 3-shot. Looks like it's going to take a 4th attack. And Shinobi actually going down here. Oh, never mind, survives for 4 HP. These guys are fairly squishy, though.
Yeah, they are squishy. Now at about 4 to 5 health, he is going to be able to sabotage one of those production buildings. But MarineLorD has a decent amount of horsemen already. He's got about 3 horsemen and will be able to do some damage, maybe get a little bit of map control. And also going into the archer category, look how much health is on one of those things. 125 health on one of those archers. So they can withstand a little bit of arrow fire. They can withstand some melee infantry getting in their face. The one thing that cannot withstand is Beasty's fishing boats. They're going down by those horsemen. They're making quick work of them.
Yeah, the torch damage on these horsemen, on all the gilded units here for MarineLorD with the Order of the Dragon, it's increased compared to the normal torch damage on other civilizations. Now these archers, they're looking really strong. And oh, some Shinobi out there. You cannot attack move onto them. Once they're like camouflage, attack move doesn't work. You have to actually click them in order to be able to attack them once they're camouflage. MarineLorD being able to pick off 2 of them, that's some heavy losses there. These are expensive units.
Yeah, I feel like as we're watching MarineLorD take down those Shinobi, we're learning, if you're playing the Order of the Dragon, how to actually take some of these guys down. You know, having a couple archers in the back is really going to help you. It takes the melee attack from the Shinobi out of the equation. You know, that 20 attack can't really get there if you are using archers with that kind of range. And also being able to take fishing boats down too. I think that's the 4th or 5th fishing boat. I think it's number 5, as Cora is highlighting to us. Puts Beasty in a tough spot on the water.
Yeah, lots of fishing ships have been taken down. These archers are a really, really strong unit. They have an insane amount of attack speed. They attack once every second. So normal longbowman, I think, is like one attack every 1.62 seconds. That's a big difference there. Oh, demo ship here. That could potentially do heavy damage. Now, the Gilded Horsemen, they have a large health pool. So for them, it's only roughly half HP now. But still, damage has been done to them. They're going to be a little bit quicker to fall in the oncoming battles. But I really like how MarineLorD is playing the Order of the Dragon here. He's not really going into that like kind of fast castle mindset that the normal HRE might sometimes fall into. He's going into horsemen and archers. And he's got a sizable army out right now. We can see 29 military compared to 18. To mind, all of these military units from the Order of the Dragon count double here.
Yeah, that's something important to remember. I mean, the actual number of military units might be similar, but again, with the Order of the Dragon just being as good as they are, horsemen trying to try to get that raid over by the gold mine. One villager almost going down, but could be making a little idle time as well. The archers in the back will make quick work of some of those spearmen, whether they are Dark Age, Feudal Age, Japanese, or otherwise. It's not necessarily going to matter, so the spearmen got to get out of the way.
Oh, there we go. Sabotage ability coming in. Beasty disabling some of the buildings here from MarineLorD. These buildings are not going to be able to produce any units for the next 30 seconds. Also killing 2 villagers here in the process. Get some return value in now.
Yeah, it's really frustrating, isn't it, when a shinobi is, because you see that burn symbol and you're like, well, I got to repair it. It's going to go down. I don't know what to do, but it's just going to linger just a little bit. It smolders, as you can see the barracks HP going down just a little bit, but not being able to get those military units, especially for Order of the Dragon. Every unit is so valuable, and they take a little while to produce too, so that extra 30 seconds means Beasty might be able to get a little bit more units to try to take it to him. But man, crackety, we're watching shinobi. We have groups of them going all over the place. This is so frustrating for MarineLorD to deal with.
Yeah, he has to react to every single one of them once they come out, and we see Beasty is producing even more of them, so he's going to be counting and constantly harassing with these shinobi. Some buildings here in front line do get taken down by MarineLorD. They're getting rebuilt now. Beasty actually a house right now, with that one house getting taken down. Archers are able to take good shots here on the junk. Look at that, it's going down so quickly. The attack speed really coming into play here. And the archers really tanky as well. They can take a lot of the shots from the junk here. Some random shinobi standing out there on the map, just waiting for value to present itself. Horseman taking down that dog really quickly. The torch attack. It's very fast. Archers coming in as well. That's going to be additional pips going down here now on one of the ponds for Beasty. 2 fishing ships, 3 fishing ships. Is it going to be a 4th one, or does the 4th one manage to get inside the dock? It gets taken down before even dropping off the food.
Yeah, I think just with these Order of the Dragon units, you can see you want to make sure you're not getting caught out in harm's way. It looks like they're going to be trying to take down spearmen. Beasty adding his own horsemen in this regard. It looks like even just with the bonus damage with the horsemen to those gilded archers, they take a lot of those horsemen spear shots. It didn't look like any of them went down.
Sabotage once again, setting it. No, cancels it. Doesn't wait for the animation to finish. Sabotage not coming in. Now he goes back for it, but that bought MarineLorD enough time to bring his villagers there to safety. Doesn't lose any to the continuing shinobi harass there.
Yeah, he's keeping his mind in multiple places at once, and the shinobi is going to make you have to do that. Beasty adding a demo ship. He's trying to get some kind of defense here, but it seems like crackety, he's spending so many resources trying to get these fishing boats to stay alive and get food, and it just doesn't seem like it's paying off.
Yeah, the economy right now, it's in a little bit of an odd spot. Beasty, he still has a really good food income right now. It's very comparable right now to what MarineLorD has. MarineLorD, he has to look for a transition at some point here, or rather he has to go out on the map soon, as these berry bushes are about to expire here very soon.
Yeah, and you got to think about where he might go. I mean, there's different berry bushes around. There might be a deer patch over in no man's land, but it's going to be really difficult. Beasty trying to give the offensive, using shinobi, trying to take a little bit of a front line with the horsemen as well, trying to take down the barracks. MarineLorD's army on the other side, however, you can see it matriculating south all the way down to Beasty. He doesn't necessarily care about those Japanese horsemen. He's looking to do some damage.
Caring about the horsemen, though, you do have to care at least a little bit about them. That's a lot of them. They could probably even take down one or two of these spearmen from MarineLorD. The issue is right now for MarineLorD that his buildings are getting sabotaged, his production buildings. He only has a single barracks, so he's not able to produce any of these spearmen right now. And the stable, I think now it's really on fire. It's not just a sabotage fire. Oh, second TC. BC has gone for a second TC behind all of this now. He's got a lot of villagers on wood, on stone. He's going to try and upgrade his TCs to the daimyo. It's going to increase the health as well as the gathering rate of nearby farms around these TCs. Oh, MarineLorD has to go for a little bit of a battle here against these Shinobi with a villager. One villager, low HP now. Look at that, MarineLorD. He's really, really committing right now to taking that TC down. It looks like he's going to be able to do so. TCs now. You can't garrison as many villagers inside anymore. That means that it's also having less DPS right now. Less damage coming out of it. And the Archer's doing a really, really great job here right now. You see, once again, looking around with Shinobi. Is the TC going to go down, though? It looks like he might be able to force MarineLorD off of that TC. Now Shinobi, once again, getting villager picks. It's so easy to get some villager picks with these Shinobi. They kill him so quickly. Now Beasty's pulling his villagers to repair there. Looks like MarineLorD had some spearmen there to defend. Looks like the front line for MarineLorD is going to be going down here on that forward TC. With that, Beasty's going to be able to defend his position here.
Yeah, look at all those villagers that had to repair that town center too. He took pretty much half the Japanese province to save that town center and lost a lot of military units in the process. Military count 50 to 12 right now. MarineLorD can really push on the gas if he wants to.
Yeah, Beasty. It felt like he was trying to go up to the next age here at some point. He had like 800 food stacked up, but he had to reinvest it. He had to reinvest it into units, and now MarineLorD, he's got a sizable army lead here. 21 archers. These are gilded archers. It's like having an army of 50 archers, and you really feel like MarineLorD is just in a very, very solid position right now. Beasty, on the other hand side, he's upgrading his town centers right now. Might be looking to get a Shogunate Castle out. If he gets a Shogunate Castle out, he's going to be able to fire rockets from his TCs. These rockets, they do a lot of damage. They do like 100, 150 bonus damage to cavalry and infantry units. They don't joke around. They pretty much one-shot every unit. I've not seen if they one-shot gilded units as well, but I think they do. I think they one-shot most gilded units except maybe for the Horseman and the Knight.
And I really think that's what he's going to need. You know, I mean, when you have your defenses that are a little bit stronger and you're able to use those ballistic missiles that we'll see, hopefully, if he gets all of the upgrades, probably that's the only way to really limit MarineLorD's count if he takes another battle within this town center. But it's going to be tough for him.
Beasty so far, he's been doing an absolutely incredible job of keeping MarineLorD contained, or rather keeping him on the back foot with his army. MarineLorD so far, he went for one big push, but he wasn't really able to go for a push with all of his units. Looks like now, though, there hasn't been any Shinobi raids recently, and with that, MarineLorD, he's going to group up his army, and he's going to go for another offensive here. This many archers, it's going to be very, very difficult here for Beasty to hold that, but he's getting close to that second, or rather that third upgrade on his TC. Does he have enough stone for it? The stone mine is now depleted. And he's just got enough stone. There we go. Shogunate Castle coming out. But it's not going to be on the TC that's protecting his landmarks. That's what I'm fearing here right now.
Yeah, because the secondary town center is a little bit, I mean, it's on that western side of his base, or southwestern side, I should say. As it gets upgraded, we'll take a look at how much HP it actually goes up. So we'll do the countdown. It's at 8,500. This thing is a brick house.
Yeah, that is more than a keep right now. It is very, very tough to take one of those down. Lots of HP, the rocket as well. That is not something that you want to really push onto. It is in a good spot for Beasty when it comes to protecting his economies. The question is going to be, is MarineLorD going to have the wood income to drop some rams? And there we go, first ram getting dropped now. And it looks like maybe he wants to go for an attack on that secondary TC. As soon as he's going to see that TC has the cannon, the rocket, I think he'll have to pivot onto the landmarks.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're begging for your army to go down if you want to take down a Shogunate palace. And I think with BC, he took the time to get that stone. You know, I mean, obviously you'd rather try to get some other units to see if that pays off. But BC trying to get his way back into the game in terms of raiding. Get a couple horsemen over there on the north side. Second ramp going down for MarineLorD. It'll get built in just a few seconds. And I don't think that wall is very long for this world.
Yeah, villagers also noticing, hey, something's going on there. I'm going to be pushing onto that. But now the cannon comes out. Look at that. First gilded archer going down there immediately. Hole has been opened in the wall, but another gilded archer goes down. It's going to be another cannon. It's going to go onto the ram. Does a good amount of damage to the ram, actually.
I was surprised how much damage the ram actually took from that rocket. I mean, the ram
damage from a single attack. That's quite a lot. Now a third ram coming out, and it's like I said, MarineLorD now knows that's not going to be an area that he can really attack. So now he's looking to go for a landmark victory.
Yeah, and I think this is good game sense from MarineLorD. He knows how powerful those Shogunate palaces are. So those Rams are wheeling and dealing right to those farmhouses. They'll look to take a couple of them down. Beasty trying to get up to Castle Age. You can see Core is circling it for us to talk about 2,000 food, 600 gold, and he's going up with the floating gate.
As soon as he gets that up, it's not going to be a matter of MarineLorD getting that landmark victory. He's not going to be able to go all the way into the back of Beasty's base there. Not with that Shogunate Castle in the way. We can see that food income just being so high right now due to that Shogunate Castle. 75% bonus gathering speed on those farms. Now, the Japanese, they don't have access to normal food upgrades on their farms, so this is the only way for them to scale their eco upgrades there. And it is very pricey. It's very pricey, and if you don't have access to the area around your TC, you can't really scale into it as well. So it's a little bit of a trade-off there. Look at that MarineLorD pushing in further. He does know that something's probably going on right now. He probably anticipates that Beasty is trying to go up to the next age here before taking a fight. He has 100 military units out right now, or rather units that are worth 100 military units. Age up comes in. Another ram gets dropped. Never mind, MarineLorD cancels that one. Knows that with that age up coming in, he's probably not going to be able to push it in immediately.
Yeah, no, it's going to take a little bit more firepower for him to do that if he really wants the landmark victory. But take a look at what MarineLorD did with the Order of the Dragon. We don't usually talk about HRE too much in map control, but he's limited Beasty to about, I want to say, 3% of the map.
Yeah, Beasty. He's in a very, very small sector there of the map. He's also getting his houses destroyed right now, and he's about to get pop-capped here. He is getting those Yorishiro relics. He's probably going to be putting one of them inside of his siege workshop, boosting the production of that. There we go, Yorishiro going over into that siege workshop. It's going in that TC instead. This makes it so that TC is going to be building villagers a little bit faster. It's going to be 16 seconds per villager instead of the normal 20 seconds. He's using that to scale further now that his main TC has been taken down, but MarineLorD, he's going to destroy every single building outside of the range of that cannon now.
Oh yeah, he wants this game, and I think he definitely wants it in feudal if you look at all of the resources that he is spending. Now, Krakeny, can you talk a little bit about what that Shinto priest happened to put in there? I mean, I know with the production speed, it would be an extra 4 seconds, you know, taken off for those villagers. But if you put it in the siege workshop, do you think that would be more of a benefit for, you know, military, for defensive purposes?
So the floating gatehouse, as soon as it's built, it spawns a Shinto priest, one of your religious units, as well as 2 Yorishiros, which are unique to the floating gate. It continues to spawn them all throughout the game. I think it's like once every 4 minutes it spawns another one. You can put these relics inside of different buildings, and they boost the building depending on which building it is. So on the TC, we saw it's going to be 25% faster villager creation. If you put it inside of a production building, namely a barracks, a siege workshop, a stable, or an archer range, it's going to increase the production speed of that building by 200%. So it basically doubles, or rather triples your production buildings if you put it inside of one. So one stable works like 3 stables, or works as quickly as 3 stables would. You can also put it into other buildings. A forge gives you 75 gold per minute, so it's very similar to a relic. You can put it inside a farmhouse, gives you 75 food per minute, and inside a lumber camp for 75 wood per minute. Now MarineLorD, he's going up with the Regnitz Cathedral. Already has a lot of units out on the map. He's going to try and get some of the relics on the map, but Beasty at the same time, he knows that he has to push out. Mangonel shot beautifully dodged now by MarineLorD. Still the Mangonel means that MarineLorD isn't really going to be able to push in there with his archer mass. They're going to get decimated very, very quickly by that Mangonel. Now the archers, they can survive a little bit longer. Behind that Beasty, he's building up a fierce Castle Age army here. Lots of veteran samurai coming out. They've got a lot of armor, and also that block attack. MarineLorD on age up, immediately going to be upgrading his gilded archers, getting the +1 attack as well. Raid gonna be coming in. Is MarineLorD gonna be able to save the villagers? He hasn't looked yet. Oh, loses 1 to pathing.
Oh man, a really good pathing error. But with Beasty now moving up south, it looks like he has a little bit more confidence to try to take the battle to him, and the siege superiority will be able to do that for him. Now remember, with those gilded archers and how much health they have, 1 Mangonel shot, perhaps 2 Mangonel shots, isn't going to take him down. So Beasty with 2 Mangonels, hopefully that's going to be enough firepower and enough stones, I should say, to take down this mask, because that's probably the only thing that could stop it.
Beasty, he's researched his +2 Pierce defense upgrade. Oh, Wallow coming out. Horsemen are going to be delayed a little bit from picking off that prelate, but he is going to go down most likely in the end. And now the big army here from MarineLorD upgrades have come through. +2 attack. Not looking for a second. Has to be very, very careful here with this engagement. Mangonel taking some shots. Frontline only consisting of spearmen at the moment. That's not really the frontline that you need here against all of these samurai. He's kiting back right now. He does have the advantage when it comes to movement speed. Takes down one of the bannermen. Banner gets dropped, so all of these units, they're still getting buffed. Another bannerman goes down. Can produce bannermen as the Japanese. They buff up their unit colleagues, so the infantry bannerman buffs up the infantry. Range bannerman buffs up the range units. Wallow coming out, but the Mangonel's already making that prelate very, very weak here. Takes him out. Mangonels, spearmen, trying to take him out. Getting him to half HP. One of the Mangonel is getting taken down. Second Mangonel, though, very likely to survive here, as the spearmen do get very, very low in HP. So I think, like, with this amount of archers, MarineLord's still probably going to be able to take it down. There we go. Mangonel actually gets sniped by the archers.
Yeah, and I think we saw with the Gilded Archers for the Order of the Dragon how much the attack speed is important. Because look at how well he can kite it. We're watching him kite all the way back. The conversion probably took his mind in a different place, but he's continuing to kite. Those banners dropped all the way on the eastern side of the battlefield, not there anymore. Before I could even finish this sentence, Crackety, there's a bunch of samurai corpses on the ground.
And these archers, they do not screw around. And that Gilded Knight right now, coming out, that's an absolute powerhouse of a unit. Looks like the main TC for Beasty has been repaired, so he's now going to be able to produce villagers from that as well. Grand migration here when it comes to the gold. And MarineLorD, he's going to have to ask himself, where is Beasty going to get gold from now? And there's only one answer, one feasible answer at the moment. And Beasty is going to have to secure that. Once again, Shinobi, at this stage of the game, still causing some havoc. And Knight is going to be able to find that TC.
Wow, that's just such good game sense from MarineLorD. You got to remember that Gilded Knight. It is, you talked about the powerhouse. It is quite tanky and looks just bigger objectively from the average Knight. You saw the charge come in on it. It will be taking a decent amount of TC fire. MarineLorD sees how many villagers are here. Look at this migration. They're continuing. There's 20-some villagers over here moving. Idle time. Nowhere to go. The Knight's going to be able to track all of them down. Basically, Beasty's going to be looking at about 70 usable villagers at this point.
And behind that, I mean, the eco score, it's a little bit misleading because MarineLorD's villagers, they are 25% more efficient behind all of this. He's also been able to secure 2 relics. Now, these 2 relics, since he did go up with the Regnus Cathedral, do work like it was, like as if they were 4 relics. Gives them a little bit of additional income there. Now the archers picking off the villagers here.
Oh my god, Crackety, this is target practice. All these villagers going down. These archers, they're able to kite because they have the attack speed. They're able to spend more time moving to fire. So a lot of those villagers are going to end up going down. Now we're seeing Migration Part 2 Electric Boogaloo. Another one going into a stone outcropping over there in the middle. I hope they don't meet the same fate.
Yeah, that's a lot of villager deaths right now. Oh my god, MarineLorD, he finds it immediately with his archers. And these are Onamushas, these aren't all horsemen. Look for a second like they were all horsemen. With that, Beasty is going to have to retreat immediately upon seeing that. He's targeting down the Onamusha. This is the crossbowman replacement for Beasty. And they're getting targeted down now.
Yeah, these units are, they kind of remind me of a Rus Horse Archer because they do have a flimsy aspect to them. But of course, having the increased attack to heavy armored units is really helpful. I see 3 rams and a metric load of archers going to be taking down more villagers. That TC is not long for this world. Those villagers are not either.
MarineLorD, he's so strong with these archer masses. Beasty, he knows that his only way really to get back into that game is to secure himself with some of these TC keeps, and he really, really needs a stone for it. Going out onto the map with that, he needs a way to reboom into it, but right now it feels like MarineLorD's chokehold is just a little bit too strong here. This archer play, just the mangonels don't feel like they're enough, but now Beasty actually is going up to 3 mangonels with 2 more in the queue. Maybe this is what he needs in order to take them down.
Yeah, I think just having more of them, you know, as the mangonels are going to be able to get some shots off and damage maybe about 3 or 4 archers. Otherwise, not that great of the shots, but I mean, using siege, having some siege superiority is what's really going to bring you back into a game. Getting lucky mango shots like that when you have a military deficit for Beasty. 45, 47 to 115. You're going to need some of those really, really quick archer mass decimations, and MarineLorD's going to put an outpost right next to the stone outcropping as well. Beasty probably going for some more TC upgrades with how many he's got on stone, but that outpost makes sure. And those archers, as you can see them moving, those knights are moving, waiting. These villagers, they got nowhere to go, Crackety.
Nowhere to go, indeed. And with that, I mean, these villagers are going to go down. Behind that, Palace of Swabia is coming out for MarineLorD. That's going to be a lot of these gilded villagers coming out. As soon as he ages up, it's going to be coming in as well on this unit. And with that, Beasty, he's going to be in a load of trouble here. I feel like these villagers have kind of surrendered themselves to their fate here. They're walled out as well. They're going to have to construct a gate, but by the time that's finished, these villagers are all going to be dead.
Yeah, and Beasty tried to get that eco advantage for how many villagers, and we saw it. You know, Beasty had about almost 100 villagers at some point, but that economic count at the top of your screen is going to very, very quickly change. It's the Palace of Swabia that we all know and love, and you can see Core hovering over the dragon villagers, taking 8 seconds to pop out. And you got to remember, they have that increased gathering speed all the time wherever they go. So if MarineLorD has more actual villagers of the count that you can see on the top part of your screen, plus with that benefit, you know he's on eco overload.
And now that Palace of Swabia is going to be pumping out villagers like there's no tomorrow. Beasty, he does have a sizable army in his base, 35 samurai, 5 mangonels. MarineLorD is going to have to reconsider his army composition right now. He needs something in order to be able to take down these mangonels. He's going to need Springles, and Springles he's going for.
Yeah, I was wondering what he was going to do for an army composition change, and Springles are good as far as these mangonels, but you got to think, just because with Swabia and your economy is going to be a little bit better, he might have, and plus with Regnus Cathedral having a couple relics in it, as you saw the top part of your screen, he's got enough food, he's got enough gold. We might see more of those big, bad knights.
As Core's pointing out, the Order of the Dragon, they do have access to those cauldrons. MarineLorD, though, he is still going for the Springald nonetheless. Not sure if he's got roller shot triggers. Look at that cannon, that rocket coming out from that TC, obliterating that Gilded Knight there.
That was theatric. It looked like a Michael Bay film with those rockets going in on that Gilded Knight. Beasty trying to raid his way back into the game yet again, using horsemen. And I think there's a mounted samurai in there if I can see, but trying to get some villagers on the opposite side now. Beasty with that another town center on the eastern side, going to be trying to get its upgrades, but look at all of these archers, all of this military mass. It's not going to be in enough time.
Going to be a lot of increased torch damage here coming out. Archers firing onto the village as well, and the archer attack speed really makes a huge difference. Way more villagers going down than it would if it was normal archers. They're firing faster than Abbasid composite bow archers, which is fair because these archers, they cost 60 food and 100 wood each. 100 wood per archer. So it's a very big investment here when it comes to the army. Beasty with the 5 mangonels. 1 Springald is not going to be enough. That's a huge amount of mangonels, and we call him CG Cutie for a reason. And here he comes. He's going to be manifesting himself here.
Oh, yeah, and hopefully there's a good choke point. You can see some of the gilded archers that are stuck there in the choke point. Maybe the mangonels could start rocking and rolling over there on the eastern side to try to take him down. But these archers, they're going to continue to kite. That Springald is going to get popped into firewood really quickly. Horsemen trying to get us around, trying to take down some of these archers. They are the quote-unquote counter, but they're all dead. Mangonels finally getting some shots off. That one poor archer was targeted and went down. MarineLorD looks like it might be making a composition change, as we can see on the top left part of your screen, getting the elite Gilded Knights, and he's got 8 in the queue. These are not cheap units, Crackety. The fact that he can queue up 8 is impressive.
Yeah, these are really expensive. They cost twice as much as a normal knight would, and on this map, long term, you do have the opportunity to go for trade. You have the traders on the opposite side of the map, so that is always an option here for MarineLorD in the later stages of the game. He still has an 8k gold mine, though, that he can deplete until then.
Yeah, he still has a little bit of resources, and hopefully for MarineLorD, when these knights actually get there, they'll be able to get even more worker kills. As you can see on the bottom left part of your screen, 126 worker kills. Beasty's made almost 200 villagers this game. More than half of them are already dead.
Army here for Beasty in the middle. He was looking to go a little bit further forward, but has to retreat now. I think he knows that right now he's definitely on the back foot at this point in the game. What's his way gonna be back into the game? Okay, so it looks like he knows about the Knight play. He is massing up additional Spearmen now, and the Japanese, they do get some really, really strong Spearman bonuses as well. Look at that Knight. He's looking absolutely beautiful.
And I love that black and yellow coat that the Order of the Dragon gets. Some horsemen are not going to be enough for just that one Knight. Looks like 3 or 4 horsemen, some villagers trying to get back to work. But now it's that one Knight was very difficult for him to deal with. He's got horsemen here now. 4 or 5 more of them are rounding up the backside, going to make quick work of some of those villagers. And it looks like Beasty's trying to get his spearman count up, but I don't think it's going to be in time. That battle's happening now, whether he likes it or not.
Mangonels firing onto the archers. That could be a huge shot. Gets some really, really good connections there. Knights trying to take down the Mangonels. Units trying to protect them. 2 Mangonels going down. A lot of Knights went down with them, though. Looks like the Mangonels with them. Beasty, for now, is going to be able to hold.
Yeah, really good micro by Beasty, don't you think? Just having all of his units, whether they be ranged units, spears, horsemen, whatever, just getting in the way of those Mangonels, making sure the Gilded Knights can't get there. And although we talk about how tanky they are, we talk about how much HP they are, if they're getting hit by a million different units, they're still not going to be able to take down some of those Mangonels. So both of these players are going to have to lick their wounds just a little bit and come back. But it seems like Crackety, if Beasty stops making units, it's going to be an issue. So it feels like he's perpetually in castle right now.
Yeah, I mean, MarineLorD, he knows that right now he is ahead. Look at the destruction value, massively in favor of MarineLorD, but he does need to respect that siege play from Beasty. Goes now for the Cauldron. He's massing up more and more of these knights. He's also getting the biology upgrade right now. With that, he's going to be having more and more HP on these knights. Also the unique upgrade on him as well, reducing their damage taken while they charge. Mangonel shots coming out once again. And the Cauldron is making its move. This could be the decider now. With that, I think MarineLorD should be able to take the game now. First Mangonel gets taken down. Second Mangonel out as well. And with that, all the Mangonels are gonna be going down.
Yeah, I think the siege superiority is really what kept Beasty in the game. Having those Mangonels, the archers couldn't sit there and rain their special arrows, those gilded arrows, I will say, on a lot of those knights continuing to make the front line with just about 6 or 7 of them. We're making the front line and making quick work of all of these units, banners or otherwise, for the Japanese. That's a lot of units going down. Military continuing to tank right now. We're looking at 90 to 25.
Beasty is still having an impressive hold here. He had Onamushas in the army as well. They were able to do a lot of damage onto these knights, being able to do a lot of extra damage to armored units. Now the biology upgrade is through, though. It's going to be having a lot of extra HP. And the castle, I want to say like TC or castle, it's hard to say. The Shogunate castle has been upgraded. And with that, rockets are going to be firing out of that one. And that's going to be a tough position to take now.
Yeah, it is. I think Beasty stalled with just enough time, to get all of that, get all of the stone, and then get the upgrade. You can see those rockets firing, also hitting a culverin, doing decent amount of damage to the culverin. I mean, it does have 20 ranged armor defense, but that culverin is at about 40%, doesn't have the opportunity to get out of harm's way.
And behind that, I mean, that has been a very, very big stone investment here so far for Beasty. It's been a lot of stone that he put into these TCs, and there aren't really a lot of farms around the forward TCs now that he's upgraded. There are some around here, but this isn't really what you want. Like, this isn't the fully upgraded TC. You want to have it around this one, the Shogunate Castle. It's 25% resource gathering speed that you're missing out there right now. Mangonel, 2 Mangonels have been rebuilt. Still, villagers once again getting taken down here. Has to be careful though. These archers, another good Mangonel shot. It's gonna be tough for them to stay alive.
Yeah, it looks like the Spearman, the micro, wasn't necessarily there for this one, as there was a nice avenue for those Gilded Knights to get in there and take down Mangonel. More raiding just happening in every single crevice of this Japanese province on the eastern side where that town center is. That's been consistently raided for pretty much the entirety of the game. And now, Crackety, since probably about the 10-minute mark, this archer mass for MarineLorD that we saw over there finally getting cleaned up.
Yeah, for the first time in quite a while, and MarineLorD behind all of this. He's still in a good position, but Beasty so far, he's been able to hold, which is quite a miracle right now, being able to hold with all of this pressure going on. These TCs just providing a lot of support, being able to upgrade all of these TCs. And now we actually see, there we go, corresponding it out, the Gilded Landsknechte coming out here for MarineLorD.
I'm envious of the way you pronounce this unit, and I hope that we're able to see them in action, because the blades that these guys carry and those fancy golden hats that they have, you're going to see them rain destruction. Spearmen, we're not going to see it. I hyped it up.
I think
pretty
Beasty
much
saw
no it. Yeah, Beasty saw it. It was quite enough, wasn't it?
Yeah, having those Landsknechte there, it's a punch in the gut there. You see those Landsknechte, you're like, okay, maybe this is not going to be a fight that I'll be able to win. Like, he was able to hold for quite a long time, but look at the villager count. It's been a destruction time and time again. Villager count just being decimated behind all of that. You gotta think of it like this. MarineLorD, once both of these players go up to 120 villagers, MarineLorD's villagers are still gonna be 25% more efficient. So in the late game, the Order of the Dragon is gonna be a pretty strong powerhouse here when it comes to the economy as well. And look at that, food gathered. Beasty was actually ahead by a lot when it comes to the amount of food gathered, but the destruction value that MarineLorD was able to amass here with these archer raids, with the knights, it was enough. It was definitely enough here to take Beasty out of that one. I think this is the first. Wait, no, I don't think it's the first, but it's one of the first Order of the Dragon wins that we've seen here.
Yeah, I think it might be. I think with MarineLorD, especially going with the Swabia, I think we can see here. I mean, obviously, we knew it was a really good landmark with the HRE, its parent civilization, but with this variant, just because of the way that you talk about the dragon villagers, the efficiency at which they can operate, being able to get all of those, you're right, it just creates that post-imperial death ball that you can't really stop. And it's just because all of those units are as strong as they are. You get a bunch of them mass up together, because for the Order of the Dragon, we're talking about they want to do quality over quantity, but when you get to post-imperial, you get Swabia, you get the economy behind it, why not both?
Exactly. In the meantime, Anonymous came in with the 20 gifted subs. Fan Ferrari also came in with the 5 gifted tier 1 subs. Thank you so much for that. By the way, EGCTV right now, we're getting really, really close to Partner Plus here on Twitch. So if you're able to sub with your normal sub, not the Prime sub, not a gifted sub, but if you're able to sub with a normal sub, it would be very much appreciated. It helps EGC out a ton, essentially getting that better revenue split with Twitch. So we'll be able to bring you more and more of these amazing show games and all the tournaments that are to come. Don't forget, we still have the EGC finals coming very, very soon. Very big S-tier tournament.
Yeah, I mean, with the show matches this weekend, it's just a little morsel of what we're giving you. You know, we got a playoff 7 yesterday, a playoff 7 today, and I hope that once we get to the EGC finals in a few weeks, we're just in the discovery phase. We're trying to figure out what's the best build order for a lot of these civilizations. What kind of units should you be making against civilization? We haven't even discussed how they're going to deal with the original civilizations that, don't forget, they're still in the game. Even though you might not have been seeing them over the past couple days, they do still exist. So we have a meta that's yet to really coagulate and it's really yet to form. So it's really exciting over these past couple weeks, and you'll be able to watch it competitively through exclusively at EGCTV, trying to figure out what's the best play for a lot of these civilizations. Now, next one, game number 2, we got a 1-0 lead for MarineLorD. It's Zhu Shi's Legacy against Jeanne d'Arc. What do you think about this one?
This one's going to be very interesting. These are my 2 top civilizations when it comes to just raw strength right now. And looks like we're just about to go into our game number 2 here. And here we go, game number 2. We see MarineLorD playing as red. Zhu Shi's Legacy on the opposite side. We got Beasty in the color yellow playing as Jeanne d'Arc. This is Gorge. This is one of the new maps that we've got. It's sort of like a returning map, because we've had this map in the last Red Bull tournament from Red Bull in Heidelberg, and exclusively for that, and now we're actually getting it live on the ladder as well with the DLC release. That is absolutely amazing, and I'm very happy about seeing this map again. I think it's probably one of the best competitive maps out there. It is very, very aggressive. You got like all the resources, they're out to the sides. You have to move out of your base. You got to go up a hill, and Yeah, it's just overall one of the best maps, 100%. And I'm very interested to see how these two players are going to be playing these civilizations. Because Beasty, I know how he feels about Jeanne d'Arc. He's been on the he's been on the receiving end when it comes to this civilization a couple of times now. Jeanne d'Arc is not a civilization to be underestimated. You get this hero unit we see here, Jeanne d'Arc. She's starting off as a peasant. She's a little bit of a stronger villager, and she's gathering up experience. You see this little star coming up every now and then when she's gathering resources. She starts off as a peasant, but she's able to evolve as the game goes on. She's able to choose whether she wants to be a melee unit, a ranged unit. Later on, she gets a horse. Then later on, she gets a cannon. She's able to summon units. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's very cool. It's a very cool system. And there are various ways for Jeanne d'Arc to be gaining experience. So right now, as a peasant, she's gaining experience just passively by existing, half an XP per second, as well as gathering resources or building buildings. And later on, once she chooses her weapon of choice, she's able to get experience by hunting the spores or wolves out on the map. And that's how you get her up there, up to speed.
It's a really actually high if she does choose to go the archer or the hunter, I should say, pathway. It's really a good source of XP to get a lot of these Gaia animals that are outside. A wolf is going to give you 12. A boar is going to give you 50. And it's so nice for a civilization like a French variant to go for a boar quickly, because food you're really going to need to pump out Royal Knights. I feel like this civilization does really well working with itself synergistically.
Exactly, and here we go. We see Jeanne building that school of cavalry. She also has increased building speed, so you can go up to the next age just with Jeanne d'Arc. You're going to have a competitive age-up timing just with a single villager building that landmark. Behind that, though, we've talked a lot about Jeanne d'Arc now. Let's take a look at Zhuji's legacy, because they're also very unique. And here we go. It's going to be the Meditation Gardens. That's one of the completely new, unique landmarks for Zhuji's legacy. All of their landmarks are completely unique when you compare it to the normal Chinese faction, as well as their dynasty system. It's also completely different. So in the Tang dynasty that you start in, you're paying 15% less for your landmarks. That's why this late job is going to be a little bit quicker than you would usually get for the Chinese. And the Meditation Gardens is also a very unique landmark. So similarly to how the Mansa Quarry functions, you gain resources passively after building it. However, the resources that you're getting depend on the resources that are nearby the landmark. So, for example, you got a stone outcropping there. For every stone outcropping or gold outcropping, you're going to be getting 30 resources. For every little berry bush in nearby, you're going to be getting 8 resources of food. For every single tree, it's going to be 2 wood per minute that you're going to be gathering up. Yeah, we're going to be seeing just how much gathering is going to be done by that landmark. Also, of course, pointing out, there's an aura on that landmark. If your opponent has units nearby it, its income is going to get reduced by 10% for every enemy unit. So if you got like 10 units just standing nearby, the landmark isn't going to generate any resources.
Yeah, and I mean, it really coincides with the meditation, right? It disturbs the peace, having those enemies around that area. Now, Crackety, I actually have a question for you that I'm not sure about. Do you know how many units need to be in the aura for it to completely shut off?
10. It's going to be 10% for every single unit in 9-tile range.
Okay, so 10 units, so for Zushi's legacy, when you're going into a feudal age, he's actually going for Song Dynasty as well, going for the Jiangyan Tower. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If we take a look at that tower, Core is going to hover over us for us. This tower acts as a tax drop-off for Imperial officials. You can also receive a free unit at the tower when a barracks, archer, ranger, stable is completed. You get a free villager whenever a town center is completed. So really heads up play for MarineLorD, putting this tower down and then putting down military buildings, because they'll be able to get those free units out of them.
And now we see Jeanne d'Arc. She's going to be making her way out onto the field. She's going to be looking for those hunter builds that she's going for. And look at that. Jeanne d'Arc, Woman at Arms, has come in. So Beasty, he's decided to go for the melee path on her. And I think that's probably like one of the strongest paths for her, because the civilization, Jeanne d'Arc, it's played similarly to the French. You want to get those knights out. What's the counter to knights? It's going to be spearmen. If your opponent gets spearmen out, though, this version of Jeanne d'Arc, she gets an AoE attack. She also has a lot of melee armor, so she's able to get in there in those military units and just do a little swing around, do a lot of damage to those spearmen. It's going to be 20 damage on a 1.25 tile radius. And she's able to single-handedly take down that boar and get that 50 experience for her. Beasty immediately also dropping a mill nearby, so he's gonna get a lot of food income from that ball right away.
Yeah, really heads up play by Beastie doing that. Again, using the boar for the food resources, and also to talk about Jeanne d'Arc's other abilities, not only with that AoE attack, like you said, and we saw the plus 50 go up against that boar. Really good kill for Jeanne d'Arc, going to be able to get some of that XP. Also, the ability to consecrate different military buildings or your town centers, operating at less, taking off 25% of the cost. And now MarineLorD has his barracks out. He has his stable out. So he did get free units out of them. He's looking to put the pressure a little bit on in Feudal Age, going to be pumping out Spearmen as well.
And we also hovered above the meditation gun, so seeing that it's roughly 100 resource per minute that he's getting from that. Knight vs. Horseman, it's not a fight that you want to take, but some of these units are free for MarineLorD. Has to be careful. Knight is going to be charging in. Is that going to be the first villager kill of the game? It looks like it is. First villager does go down to the Knight charge here. Now MarineLorD, he's going to be looking for a second TC play, pulling a lot of villagers over onto the stone outcropping here.
Yeah, and I'm thinking with the wood that he gathers as well, he might be thinking about a second town center. And we saw that Knight take down that one Zushi legacy villager. It's just, I mean, even though this is a variant of French, still the French. You're going to see Royal Knights. You're going to see them try to get an eco advantage in that particular regard. But also, this is the little bit of a difference. It looks like there's a smattering of Rus going to be played here with a couple wolves going down.
Yeah, it definitely feels a little bit like Rus. And now second TC is going to be coming out for MarineLorD. He's going to be able to expand his economy a little bit to that western side on the map. Now, Core hovered over it earlier, like the walls that we saw there. This is also a unique behavior of the new walls that we have in the game. You're actually able to wall to other resources, like the stone outcropping here, and you see these little like spines coming out of that wall connecting to it. So this completely blocks the pathing of that of units trying to access those villagers, which is very, very cool behavior. Now we see Beasty. He's able to kill a lot of these huntables out of the map. It's going to be a lot of experience for Jeanne d'Arc now. If she's able to get to her level 3 form in the Feudal Age, it's going to be very dangerous for MarineLorD, because that's when she can actually summon Men-at-Arms in the Feudal Age, and they're going to be having Castle Age stats, so it's a lot of defense. They also get bonus damage versus Spearmen, which is very interesting, because Spearmen is like the counter to the Royal Knights. That's the unit that you want to get out as Civilization. It's playing against the French, or rather against Jeanne d'Arc, and yeah, it's going to be very difficult dealing with those units while you're still in the Feudal Age.
Yeah, and that's the synergy that Jeanne d'Arc is really good at. So not only do you get those champions that help you against Spearmen, but Jeanne d'Arc is in the front of that battle and can use some of that AoE also. So being able to take down Spearmen as soon as they get into the battle, they're going to be falling to the ground. And MarineLorD is continuing on the Spearman route. He's already got 10. He's got another one in queue.
Lots of Spearmen out on field. Beasty also transitioning into archers, so he's going to have the response to that. MarineLorD at one point, he's going to have to go into Jugunu, and the archery range has already been dropped. He's going to be able to make his own Jugunu now. These Jugunu, ideally what you want to do is before a fight breaks out, or rather at the beginning of a fight, you want to immediately focus down Jeanne d'Arc with your range units, because then she isn't going to be gathering any experience from the fight. The thing is, these kind of like drawn out fights, as every time a unit goes down, Jeanne d'Arc is nearby, she's going to be getting experience, and you won't deny that.
Yeah, and I think having that kind of range mass, like you said, Crackety, is a really good idea with the Zugnu. Even though Jeanne d'Arc does have a little bit of that ranged armor just because she went for the woman-at-arms instead of the hunter, Zugnu, they still, I mean, they operate like the Zugnu we all know. You see 2 ranged armor on the woman-at-arms. But Zugnu, if you get a good mass of them, you might be able to take it down. At 225 health, though, I don't think 4 is going to cut it just yet.
I think that unit that just went down wasn't in range for Jeanne d'Arc to get experience. At least I didn't see a star above her head or above the unit. So don't think she got experience there. Beasty is going to be running around the base now from MarineLorD, but MarineLorD, he's walled the top half of the map there. He's going to be safe around that side, but Beasty, he's still massing up a dangerous amount of knights and archers now.
It looks like he's trying to maybe take down a villager, trying to get some sort of economic damage to MarineLorD, but that second town center continuing to be safe, and we all know from 2 town centers, the longer you have it, the more it's going to pay off. MarineLorD trying to raid on the backside, something that watching these top tier players, or arguably the top tier players, being able to raid while defending back home, having those extra units, it's so powerful. It keeps your mind at two different places at once. Beasty trying to find an area to go around. It looks like he's trying to get toward this north side where that gold mine is for MarineLorD. Outpost is already there. He's getting hand cannon slits on that outpost. So those knights, even though they have a lot of armor, those hand cannon slits just cut through that armor.
Yeah, and that's very, very important here. The stone that he needed for that emplacement, he got all of that from the landmark passively, from the meditation garden. So that's another point where this landmark just provides a lot of value, being able to get those emplacements for pretty much free. But it looks like Beasty, he still wants to put pressure on that outpost, on that gold. Couple shots though coming out from that tower, taking down some archers here. Consecrate hasn't been used yet by Beasty. Really needs to put that to use. He can consecrate his buildings, so he only pays 25% less food. Actually, he consecrates his TC first, so his villagers for now, they're going to be cheaper.
Yeah, just for reference for everybody. Oh, as we see a big fight coming in here, Royal Knights trying to get in on some of those horsemen. There are a lot of spears for MarineLorD right now. There's about 15 spears, a lot of reinforcements from Beasty on the western side. He's trying to come back. He does have Jeanne d'Arc with him, so might be able to help. He might be able to get some of that passive restoration, that extra heal as this battle comes in. Looks like that AoE attack comes in. Did do a little bit of damage to Spearman, a horseman. One horseman went down. What's really nice about those charges, she has all of them stockpiled, or she had all of them stockpiled before she used that one. It only takes a couple seconds for that cooldown. You can just keep using them over and over again, and I think that's what Beasty's trying to do when he wants to take that climactic fight.
And Beasty right now, he's just storing up those experience points. As soon as he's able to get Jeanne d'Arc to the next level, that's when it starts becoming very, very difficult for MarineLorD to really react to these, or rather be able to hold against the aggression coming out from the Jeanne d'Arc faction. And behind that now, MarineLorD, he's in the Song Dynasty. We haven't talked about yet, Song Dynasty for the Juji's Legacy. It's a very strong economic bonus. You pay 40% less wood on all of your non-military buildings. So we see in the back of MarineLorD's base, he's going for a full granary transition now. And he's able to facilitate with his farms only costing 45 wood each.
Yeah, and I think Beasty has a good opportunity to be offensive at that particular point. Yeah, it's going to soften the blow a little bit to try to get a farm transition, but it's still a farm transition nonetheless. Spearman trying to make a front line. Jeanne d'Arc went for another AoE. It looks like there was a backup by MarineLorD. Excellent micro from him. He knows that there is some kind of AoE damage, so he was able to back up a little bit. Now Beasty has to retreat. Looks like more losses on his side as well for destructed value. It looks like Beasty has more of it.
Yeah, this is really difficult right now, though, for MarineLorD. We look at the army value at the moment, and Beasty, his army value is just much, much higher than MarineLorD's right now, and I feel like Beasty, he's probably not too far off of getting that level 3 upgrade on Jeanne d'Arc. And we saw it earlier, MarineLorD was very close to killing Jeanne d'Arc there, and that is what he needs to do. Before the fight really starts to happen, he needs to kill Jeanne d'Arc. If Jeanne d'Arc is alive during the fight, it's going to be a lot of experience gained for her, and if she reaches that level 3, we talked about it, she's going to be able to summon Castle Age units. That's the dangerous part. You don't want to get into that stage in Feudal Age.
Yeah, I mean, based on MarineLorD's army composition and what units are available to him right now, it's going to be difficult for them to do. Jeanne d'Arc does hit level 3 cores. Circling it, Jeanne d'Arc is a knight now. Just a few minutes ago, we saw her as a peasant. And here she is as a knight with Jeanne's champions coming out, 175 health. Decent amount of damage, decent amount of ranged armor too. There's 6 total ranged armor on those bad boys, and they do get buffed when they're around Jeanne d'Arc. Now Beasty confident enough to take this fight. Knights making out the front line here. Jeanne d'Arc did pull off the heal, so a lot of those knights were able to heal a decent percentage, and it just means they're able to take these spearmen. We had archers in the back taking down a lot of spearmen as well. There weren't many knights that went down in this process. You can see military count on the top part of your screen as those knights are ravaging through this Chinese province. Military count 44 to 20. He's going to be able to get back to those Zugnu. Those knights are not going to be able to go down just because of how many Zugnu are there. Military count continuing to plummet. We're down to 5. An AoE attack taking down 7 Zugnu at once. That was a Jeanne d'Arc cleanup, Crackety.
A Jeanne d'Arc cleanup, indeed, and she has so much armor now. In her level 3 form, it is very, very difficult. The Zugnu, they can't really do that much damage to her. Also, 450 health. She is a tank in this form, and now the villagers from MarineLorD, they're exposed. Beasty behind all of this, also making ram, and right now the villagers, they have nowhere to run. Sure, you get the villages as Jushi's Legacy, as a Chinese variant faction, but it doesn't help if all of your villagers are going to be on the run, and villager after villager gets picked off here by these knights.
Yeah, took a look at what Jeanne d'Arc did. She went in the middle of where that villager mass was and just popped her AoE. And you saw all of those villagers end up taking a decent amount of health, so they're able to be picked off by things like archers. Jeanne d'Arc, though, getting a little weak. She's at 6 health. She's at 1 health. She's gone. I think, is that GG? Do we just call it?
Usually, if you're the Mongols, it's GG, but for Beasty, it's only 500 gold, or rather, well, not only, it is 500 gold, and he can instantly revive her. For now, doesn't choose to do so. MarineLorD, he still... I want to say he still has a fighting chance in this one. Sure, it's a lot of villager idle time. A lot of villager idle time. But he still has 12 villager lead, and he has some defense around with the outpost that he was able to upgrade thanks to that meditation garden. So I don't think it's over yet. He still has access to his farms, so that's not completely denied right now. It's a lot of Rams, though, coming out, and MarineLorD, it's going to take him a while to be able to mass up an army again.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's gonna all the way back in his base. He's got to kind of lick his wounds, and you got to remember, while that battle was going on, he was in the midst of a granary transition. I mean, some of it was completed. There are some farms in the back, as you see. Jeanne d'Arc, I guess Jeanne d'Arc the second, we'll say, as the second one will be coming out, but she is a knight still. And we'll try to get some of those charges quickly before battle's going underway. But Beasty's smelling blood in the water. He knows it's going to take a little bit of time for MarineLorD to get any kind of army. He only has a military count of 13, most of them being Zhugnu. It's about 5 knights here. I want to say that 5 knights is enough. You could see +8 going off on those spearmen. Only those 2 +8s is what we are going to see. MarineLorD says, I'm out of this. I don't want to deal with Jeanne d'Arc anymore.
And the Jeanne d'Arc looking very, very powerful right now if played like this. And yeah, MarineLorD with that second TC, I talked about it recently. I think that the 2 TC play, or rather in many situations or against a lot of civilizations, the 2 TC meta is dead. You cannot go for 2 TC anymore. It is tempting. You do scale your economy very, very nicely. But I think overall, the 2 TC meta is dead. You can't go instantly 2 TC anymore. You can go for it later to scale, but like immediate feudal age 2 TC, it's pretty much over. It is pretty much over at this point in time. There's been enough nerfs on these secondary TCs, and we're finally getting to the point where aggression against the greedy boom with multiple TCs does pay off.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And MarineLorD saw that second TC, or Beasty saw that second TC, excuse me, and decided to punish it with arguably one of the more aggressive civilizations, as we could see with Jeanne d'Arc, and his core showed the timeline of military count and almost looked like gremlins with how much MarineLorD's military count went down. It looked like a cliff as we see it one more time. Take a look at that, all the way down from 50 to about 2. And I think for economy, again, for that second TC, couldn't pay off in time. It looks like for the Chinese, again, whether it's Zushi's Legacy or Chinese, there's a lot of economic things they need to set up before they're ready to take a battle. And Beasty realized that, ended up taking the battle right there. So if you're an aggressive player in feudal age, if you enjoy getting Royal Knights, popping some villagers, Jeanne d'Arc might just be the civ for you come the 14th.
Exactly. Oh, look at that. That's going to be an exciting new map. It's going to be Thickets. And I mean, we had a really, really interesting game yesterday on Thickets. I think it was even the same matchup. I think it also was Ayubits vs Byzantines. That was TheMista playing against God damn it. Who was it again? Oh, Mr. played against Demu. Mr. played against Demu today. My brain. TikTok is ruining me. But yeah.
Sorry, I should have tried to save you, and I just let you drown. It's a bad partner. It's my fault.
I got there. I got there in the end. It was Mr. vs. Demu, so we had a very, very interesting game there. But I'm not going to spoil the result there. It's I'm not sure if it's already uploaded over on EGCTV, but it truly is to be there soon. Or you can also rewatch it in the VOD. It was a very, very interesting game, and it's the same matchup. So I'm very excited for this one. The Byzantines also with their unique ship, the Dromon. So it's very cool. I really love the Byzantines. They're such a unique civilization, and gonna be interesting to see what Beasty is gonna be pulling off with them here.
Yeah, super cool. And we are loading into the match. We're on game 3. It's a 1-1 tie. We're on the map Thickets, and let's just say We are in the thick of it. MarineLorD playing in the color red, playing as the IUBID's Beasty, spawning in on the western side, playing as the Byzantines. You talked about the Dromans just a little bit, and I really hope we get to see some Dromans. We did see some yesterday, but just the ability to, it reminds me of, if you've played AoE 2, Crackety, it reminds me of just normal fire ships from AoE 2. Super cool to watch.
Yeah, the fire ships in AoE2, that's probably the closest thing there. But like in AoE2, these ships have to get a little bit closer in your face than they do in like the normal Springle ships would have to. And that means that they're a little bit more exposed to demolition ships. But they come with a lot of anti-building damage, as well as a lot of additional damage against these normal archer ships. They're a little bit tankier as well. Overall, it's very cool to see them. I'm not 100% sure yet how exactly they play out in like prolonged water battles. But it's a cool ship nonetheless. And Beasty, with the Byzantines, he also has access to the mercenary system. And that can become a very big factor here in these games as they go on. The Byzantines, they gather this olive oil, the resource you see here. They got a 5th resource. You see it in the top left side there. They get that by gathering from berry bushes, shoreline fish, or from their olive groves. That's their unique farm replacement. So you passively get olive oil just from fishing here, as we see both players going to that middle lake for the deep sea fish. And what that does with that olive oil, you can recruit these mercenaries. So you get like pretty much free units. And on a hybrid map, getting units out cheaply is very, very important.
Yeah, I think there really is some synergy there in a hybrid standpoint for the Byzantines with that olive oil. Core looked at the north and south trading posts with the units that are there. However, you can make your own buildings in feudal age mercenary houses. Those mercenary houses can use the olive oil first. You get a contract with specific units, and if he does build one, we can go over the different contracts that you can make. But also you can use your olive oil to make some of those units, and you're exactly right. Having that 5th resource that you probably wouldn't be using for anything else means you can use your villagers on wood to make sure you have enough ships. You know, you don't have to necessarily allocate villager time on that resource to get land units. And I think that can really snowball.
I'm looking at that House of Wisdom positioning right now, and I'm not sure how exactly I feel about it. Sure, it's going to be buffing up your dock as well. You're going to be getting fire armor that's going to be contributing to your golden age. But on the other hand side, it's a little bit close to water. If MarineLorD loses the water here, I think it's probably in range for the Dromans to even attack the House of Wisdom with their fire attack.
Yeah, actually, you might be right. I think what he was going for that House of Wisdom and the influence around that dock, you get a little bit more fire armor. The Dromans, that's the only thing that they have. So I'm thinking he's trying to preserve the health of his dock, maybe a little bit. Now, what I see from Beasty, if we can pan over to the Byzantine base, I don't see any cisterns as of yet. And I think with this naval build for the Byzantines, this hybrid build, as you could take a look at the cistern, first one's 50 stone. It continues to escalate in cost as you keep going up the cisterns. You can have up to 5 connected by aqueducts, so all of your Byzantine villagers can drink up.
This confuses me a little bit, him not getting any of that. Oh, look at that. Culture Wing advancement coming out from MarineLorD. That's one of the unique ways for the IUBIDs to age up. It costs a lot less, and having that reduced cost already available to you in Feudal Age means that this is going to be an insanely quick age up here for him. He's going to be having military ships out on water very, very soon. And Beasty, the reason why he's not going for that cistern is so that he's going to be having enough stone to immediately get an emplacement on his dock.
Yeah, I really like this from MarineLorD going up with the Culture Wing, because you talk about getting any kind of naval superiority. Well, first of all, you need access to that navy. You need access to those ships. MarineLorD's going to be the first one to do that, getting an archer ship pretty much immediately. Beasty, on the other hand, went for a transport ship, and you can see it on the northwest side of this sea. What does it have in it? However, I think there's a villager in there, if I could see.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. There's a villager inside, but MarineLorD, like he's setting that villager out there probably to build a dock, I would assume. But the archer ship, it's already coming out here very, very soon. And yep, there it is. And MarineLorD, he spots that out immediately. He's just gonna go straight forward. There we go. Now he notices it. This wasn't really early time, but Beasty probably didn't account for the increased age up timing here, or rather for the speedy age up timing here from the IU-bits, and this is gonna catch him off guard. This would have been a really cool strategy. Otherwise, imagine he gets the dock up and he's able to immediately get an placement up on that. Oh, looks like he hasn't given up on it yet, though.
I think for Beasty, that could be the one way that he actually gets back into the water. Look at MarineLorD doing the heads-up play. He actually shot the boar as well. So as soon as that villager actually gets down, maybe the boar might be able to take it. More military ships from MarineLorD are going to be coming out. He's got rock, paper, and scissors with the Springald ship and the demo ship in the queue. That dock, oh my god. It's at 90, it's like 98%.
He's got a demo ship immediately. He's going to be able to take it down. Oh, he's not going for it, but Hippodrome is also so close to be complete. This is gonna buy MarineLorD so much momentum now. This plan has backfired for Beasty, and he might have to go for a play where he's trying to repair the fishing ship and the transport ship. Oh, it's not gonna be enough. The transport ship, it's going down, and the villager goes down with it. And Beasty, his plan, it's failed. He's calling the GG.
Unbelievable. Like... What a cluster this game was. This dock going up, and I mean, if that dock goes up, we're still casting this, Crackety. This game is very far from over. And I think with the IU-bids being able to get to feudal as quickly as they can, they're the first one with the Navy out, you know? And I mean, when we talk about water from any aspect, no matter what civilization you're playing, you want to get that first ship out first to disrupt the fishing boats, to take the battle to the opposite end, so your fishing boats are okay. The IU-bids seem to be, looking at what we just saw, the IU-bids seem to be the best civilization to do that. That was a quick feudal time.
Yeah, this somewhat reminded me of like the Ruse feudal age rush that we tend to see on hybrid maps with them. This was an insanely quick age up timing here for MarineLorD. Very cheap, very quick age up. On a hybrid map, that is probably a meta-defining moment right there. That build order that we just saw.
Unbelievable. That was, oh man, Beasty was like literally a second and a half late, you know, trying to get that dock up. But
it was so close, yeah.
Game 3 couldn't necessarily get off the shoreline, as we could see that ended in about 6 minutes. How you feeling about my puns, Crackety? I know it's the first time we casted together. I hope you're not shaking your head just yet.
I got a colleague who is full of puns. I can handle them at this point in time. But now we got our first 3 games off our belt. So now players are going to be switching out their draft. So we're going to be seeing the civilizations that Beasty has played so far going over to MarineLorD, and vice versa. Beasty is going to be having access to the IU-bits, the Order of the Dragon, and Juji's Legacy. And yeah, the next map, it's going to be Cliffside.
Yeah, I want to know, just because if you guys don't know Crackety, obviously you should, because he casts here very frequently, but he is one of the best players out there as well. So I want to know your opinion on Cliffside. I know you've probably played it a couple times. I have seen some spawns that have tilted me off the planet. I have seen some spawns that are absolutely fantastic as well. So for you, for Cliffside, what's your experience playing on it so far?
I think the map is very interesting, always to look at. It's always spawning in the same kind of manner, with like these cliffs just chopping that map in half along like right through the middle between the players. It's really interesting to play on it. There's a lot of gold resources out towards in the middle. It's one of those maps that I think is very cool, because it's not one of those maps where the sacred sites, they spawn in like a corner behind your base. They're in the middle. They're out there. You can actually go for a sacred site victory on that map because they're so obtainable, sacred sites. And taking map control there is very important. Also, there's a lot of ways to like kind of slither through these gaps inside of these like natural walls with these cliff sides, and kind of get some raids going on your opponent without them immediately noticing like the path that your units took to get there. I think it's a very dynamic map, very dynamic map, and it can get very chaotic. But I think that's also a little bit of like the flavor of what makes it so attractive as a map as well. Like, some players really like to embrace the chaos of certain map generations.
Yeah, yeah. I think chaotic or chaos is probably the best word for it. I really enjoy a map like Cliffside because of how different the spawns are. It feels like every Cliffside game that you go in is going to be different. So you have to adapt to it. And I think that's part of the reason why we love AoE Force so much, especially with these past few days with the new Civ variants, is the problem solving. I mean, looking back at it, this is a strategy game. Having something like the map working against you might be another problem, another obstacle that you have to clear. Now, for our drafts for game number 4, we're going to see Jeanne d'Arc yet again for MarineLorD and Zushi's Legacy. Now, usually, Crackety, when I play Jeanne d'Arc, and I have over the past couple days because I really enjoy French, I usually call her my wife as she's going through it because she's a peasant. I get to run the narrative with her and her story as she goes up. And now watching her play with Beasty and MarineLorD, we are going to have a discussion when she gets home. That's for sure.
I'm gonna say something really cringe. I mean, that's what Age of Empires is all about. Make history your story. That's the motto there, right? So you kind of get to tell the narrative. But we're about to go into our 4th game of the day, and here we go. We see MarineLorD in the color red playing as Jeanne d'Arc. We're out here on Cliffside, one of the new maps coming to Age of Empires 4 in the Sultan's Ascent DLC. On the other side, we see Beasty playing as Zhuji's Legacy in the color yellow. We see here these cool little the cliffs, the main feature of this map, as they stretch across the middle of the map. There's a lot of resource out there on these cliffs, around these cliffs, lots of stone, lots of gold. So map control, definitely something that you want to have on this map.
Yeah, and looking at it, just because we have 100% vision, you can see, the kind of pattern that this Cliffside is going for. It's kind of like a jagged line cutting across both of them. But when you don't have that vision, like MarineLorD and Beasty do not, they're going to be going through this being like, what is this map made out of right now? They're seeing cliffs going in different directions, and then hopefully as they go ahead and scout that area, they're going to be able to parse through what is going on. But take a look at, just because of the way this map spawned, the sacred sites are basically intertwined in that cliff, and I think that can make for some really interesting gameplay as we go into Feudal Age as well, don't you think?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I talked about. Like, these sacred sites, they are very, very much obtainable. And especially for a civilization like Jeanne d'Arc. So in the Castle Age, Jeanne d'Arc is actually able to capture sacred sites. You don't need to immediately go for a monk to take those sacred sites. And what that means is that Jeanne d'Arc, if she's able to take map control, maybe not able to finish off her opponent in the Castle Age, or rather in the Feudal Age, she can immediately pivot into a kind of like sacred side oriented victory condition.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the ability to have them on the cliffs means you can wall those areas and make it a little bit difficult for your opponent to try to take those sacred sites. Now, we saw this matchup previously in game number 2. Obviously, these players playing the opposites of one another. Looking at, you're the China guy, and this is why I'm asking you this question. For Zushi's Legacy going up against Jeanne d'Arc, are you not second TCing? You're just kind of making sure you don't die? Is that kind of the plan for you?
Yeah, I mean, we saw it earlier, 2TC not really working out there. I think it can work out, but what you gotta go for is you gotta go for a really, really early granary transition. You gotta get your food economy cemented in there, and I think you also gotta make use of the Imperial Palace, not Imperial, the early Palace Guards that Zhuji's Legacy has access to. I don't think that it's really worth it to go for something like horsemen long term. Like, horsemen are nice for raids, but you don't want horsemen as like a military unit to fight with. You only want to have them for raiding. If you make them for like straight on head-to-head encounters, especially against a civilization that has access to early feudal age knights, you're gonna lose the battles there. So maybe pivoting into a unit that costs pretty much the same amount of resource but has some more melee armor is probably the way to go here for Zhuji's Legacy, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, you could think in a feudal age, kind of like how feudal age English plays, where they have a bunch of spearmen and then they just mix in like 3 or 4 men-at-arms. So maybe if you're not microwing the best or something like that, your archers get caught on the men-at-arms. Maybe that's a good idea, and Zushi has the ability to do that with the early palace guards. But we'll see. We'll see how this ends up developing. Beasty going with that very, very quick Song Dynasty, as we saw in our previous game with these players. Both of those landmarks getting built at the same time
This is a build that I theory crafted in the beginning. The idea behind it is that you get the Song Dynasty before you need to build your second house. And then you use the wood discount from the Song Dynasty to build a village for only 75 instead of 125 wood. So you save a little bit of resources there as you go up to the Song Dynasty.
Oh, I really like that play. See, that's why I'm asking you all the questions for China, because you got these builds even before these civs came out. You got these builds down to a pat, and you can take a look at that village as soon as that tower gets created. I think you have to maybe yeah. Is it?
There we go. There's the village.
There it is. Still says 125, but we know what it is.
Yeah, right now the perspective is on MarineLorD, so we see MarineLorD's cost if he was playing as the GG's Legacy. There we go, now it's switched around, and 75 wood on each of those. And now Beasty is going for its second TC, so maybe 2 times the champion. Look at that meditation garden spot here, getting 48 food per minute, 30 gold, 30 stone, as well as a lot of wood there as well. That's a very good spawn here for him. That's probably like, what, 130 resource per minute that he's getting from that?
Yeah, that meditation guard is getting all 4 of them, man. They are elbow deep in thought over there, let me tell you. Now, Jeanne d'Arc going for the Women of Arms. Not the Hunter, as we saw from previously in Game 2, will be able to take down those boards for that crisp plus 50 XP. And when going up to level 3, especially for as early as you want it, MarineLorD trying to get the same thing that Beasty did to him prior in Game 2. Both of those boars are really, really important. That's 100 XP you are leaving on the table if you don't get those.
Exactly. Beasty behind that, he's also making some spearmen, trying to defend himself. It is, however, not going to be the case that MarineLorD's going for early aggression. Instead, it's going to be a second TC that he's looking for. So he's going to be mirroring what Beasty is doing, or rather, he's going to be setting the tone of this game, going for the second TC with Jeanne d'Arc. Now, Beasty, he's going to be able to go for his own second TC as well. That Song Dynasty bonus with the wood discount applies to TCs as well. So it's only going to be 240 wood for him to get that second TC out. And there we go. Second TC is being built here. It's so dangerous going for a second TC against Jeanne sometimes, because you go out onto the map. Jeanne has her AoE ability. If she gets in there, and she might actually see that. Let's see. Jeanne d'Arc, she's making her way over. She spots out the TC. She spots out the villagers. She's not going to go for it, though. The fast speed there on the building of that TC does the true MarineLorD, and he's just going to go for that second boar instead.
Yeah, I think that would have been disastrous if a MarineLorD went over there, because, yeah, I mean, maybe you would have took down a couple villagers, but you are not getting out of harm's way, you know, and there were a couple spearmen over there as well. So took the safe option, went for the boar instead, and we'll have a scout also looking at where that second town center is. And I think, you know, for Beasty, this is a good play for him, obviously, because I really hope he scouted the fact that MarineLorD was going for a second TC on the opposite side. What's such a great spot over there. You have a board, you have all 4 resources right next to you. I feel like it would have been dumb not to put a second TC there.
Yeah, this is a very, very beautiful spot there for that second TC. It's going to provide him with a lot of resources. Now, the second TC, it's we talked about earlier, it's nerfed. So it only has 6 damage now instead of 8 when you put units inside of it. And also you can only put 7 villagers inside of it. So that means less villagers inside, means less arrows to shoot from. Oh, Jeanne d'Arc fighting off against some of these horsemen. Now, she does have 3 melee armor, so she's not necessarily getting countered by these horsemen. If it was a range Jeanne d'Arc, she might be in trouble here. As the melee version, she is going to be able to safely retreat back to her base. And outside of combat, she's going to heal for 1.5 health every single second. She's going to be able to heal up again, and every now and then on the retreat, using that AoE ability to do a lot of damage. We see a lot of beautiful body blocking there coming out from MarineLorD as well. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, that's
Consecration on that School of Cavalry. All of these knights are going to be costing, what was it, 105 food instead of 140?
Yeah, that's going to be 105, and also going for the second stable as well. So the second town center for Jeanne d'Arc, it's going to be able to pay off and get some of these villagers. It looks like it was just scouted now, but now that enough time has elapsed for Jeanne to get a consecrate charge, to get on that School of Cavalry pretty much instantly, means pretty much no knight that's going to be made is going to be full price. And that really kind of offsets the normal French variant of having a keep around a lot of your archery ranges and stables and getting that discount. Jeanne d'Arc can just do it anywhere on the map.
Yeah, Beasty behind that is going to be walling off his eastern side there of the map, and there's a lot of resource there to be gathered. That's the second deer spot. It's going to be the boar. So a lot of resources to be protected there. Now, I talked about earlier, I really like the idea of going for a really, really early granary transition, just to get that that consistent food income. You don't want to be disturbed during a food transition. You want to get that out nice and early against a civilization like Jeanne d'Arc, because the aggression is always going to be there. The aggression is always going to come in eventually, and if it hits you at the wrong timing, Jeanne d'Arc might just be able to completely snowball you.
Yeah, and I mean, we saw the potential of snowballing, and we talk about this from the normal French variant, but it's all about, when you're talking about the snowball, it's all about packing the snow correctly, making sure you're getting the right army composition, making sure you're continuously pushing in with military and making sure it's always in the queue, which is what MarineLorD is doing. So then when he does have the economy behind this, because he added that town center, that snowball turns into an avalanche.
Exactly. Outpost now coming up for Beasty. This outpost is also discounted. It's only 60 wood for an outpost, so it's all stacking on top of each other. It's a lot of bonuses that are playing into each other. Also, getting that free stone from the meditation garden landmark means that he is able to immediately get an emplacement on that. Gets the second wall layer off behind it, and with that, once that hand cannon placement is going to be coming in, it's going to be difficult for MarineLorD to push that sign. Behind this, Beasty, he's going for a quick age up.
Yeah, I really like what Beasty's doing right now. I mean, going up to Castle Age and doing this and not taking any kind of engagements, not making a lot of military, but shoring up his defenses, which this map is giving him the ability to do. It just means Jeanne d'Arc, she doesn't have the chance to get a lot of XP. She's level 2, and she's probably going to stay there for a decent amount of time until we see some kind of battle.
Now Beasty, he's going up with the Shaolin Monastery. That gives him access to the Shaolin Monk, and that is a very, very cool, unique unit for Rudy's Legacy. It's like a fighter monk. It has a lot of stats, like 170 health, 15 base damage. It costs 200 food, no gold cost, and it attacks really, really quickly. It's also able to heal itself while out of combat, able to pick up relics, able to capture sacred sites. It's a very, very strong unit. Very expensive on the food though, but I think right now with the resource that Beasty is going for, he's going to be able to at least afford a couple of them with the deer and the boar that he's on.
Yeah, and I hope he does. He does Q1 pretty much immediately, so hopefully he'll be able to get a decent mass of them. And you got to remember, when you get this technology or you get this age up, that's the only place you could produce Shaolin monks until you get pagodas. Once you get pagodas from the Yuan dynasty, you're able to make some of those Shaolin monks. So they will be coming in just one at a time, but will be very, very good against a lot of these units that MarineLorD has, specifically those archers, if they're able to get there, just because of their base damage and how quickly they can attack. But MarineLorD trying to push the initiative and continuing to in feudal age. He still has knights in the queue. He's got a second ram that's starting to move south. That wall is going to be going down, and it looks like that outpost is next on the chopping block. If it has the ability to do that, Beasty, he's got to shore up his army. He's got to get these Castle Age upgrades before he takes this engagement.
And now Village being the next building to be taken down here. Beasty, once that village gets taken down, he's going to be pop cap. He's going to have to look to get the wood for additional population buildings. And I mean, right now he just had to run away from his wood line, so this could catch him off guard, or rather could catch him in a difficult position. MarineLorD behind all of that, still pumping out knights. No archers in the queue right now. Might need to reinforce with a couple of archers, as Beasty is now going into crossbowmen and spearmen. So archer is still a very good play for Beasty at the moment. Feels like for MarineLorD at the moment, I feel like Beasty needs to go into knights, but that's a very expensive unit to make.
Yeah, those knights, I mean, they don't have much in the way of particular benefit for Zushi Legacy, and there's only 2 in there right now. But you're right, with spears and crossbowmen, archers might make quick work of them, whether they're Castle Age or otherwise. That archer mass trying to push the initiative a little bit over there on the south side. Beasties, horsemen, and spearmen, crossbowmen, a little bit of potpourri trying to get in there. It looks like Jeanne d'Arc got a good charge on some of those knights. Jeanne d'Arc trying to get some kind of AoE going on, trying to get to the front line of Beasty, but continuing to kite a little bit backwards. Those archers, just because they make the back end of the formation, they are going down rather quickly with these knights. You got to avoid spearmen now. Your archers are dead.
Oh, good pick off there with Jeanne d'Arc and the knights. Jeanne d'Arc, though, has to be careful. Low HP now. And she gets her level 3. This could be huge. Now she can, my words, she can summon the men-at-arms. She's not doing it yet. She needs to do it. She needs to do it quickly before she goes down. Low HP now. Very low HP. Healing ability is on cooldown. And there we go. Men-at-arms have been spawned. These men-at-arms do bonus damage against spearmen. And they have all the Castle Age men-at-arms stats. And behind that, MarineLorD, he's now also going to the Castle Age. With 70 knights at the same time, still alive. Might lose a few here, though.
Yeah, he's trying to do his best to micro around. Look at what Beasty's doing, walling in some of these areas. We just saw a wall blueprint on the south side. He's going to try to wall in these knights completely and wall in Jeanne d'Arc. He's trying to put Jeanne d'Arc in jail.
I feel like, but Jeanne low HP gets taken down. And with that, Jeanne, she's in prison. She's in prison for a while now. It's gonna take a while for MarineLorD to be able to afford to bail her out of that one. And the wall off, it's gonna be coming in. I don't think MarineLorD's gonna be in time to get out here.
No, this
or
was
is
genius.
he? It's very, very close.
Come on, Vils, you got to get there in time. They are going to get a charge. A lot of the villagers, even though they got a little bit of that wall off, that was the last thing that those villagers ended up doing with their lives. But boy, was it worth something. A lot of those knights end up going down. You can see the spattered knight corpses over there on the south side. MarineLorD does go up, does have the guild hall, but Beasty, military lead of 40-11. Those two knights probably not long for this world. Also, I think Beasty has his economy a little bit in duress, just because he did lose a decent amount of workers, and MarineLorD really went with that charge in feudal. Now he's got to take the battle to MarineLorD. He's got to lose some villagers. Also, I did see a raiding party over there on the north side, and there's continuing to be one. There's a Shaolin monk who he's looking for damage. He might be looking for villagers. He could pick up that relic in the meantime.
Oh, this is so frustrating for Beasty. The Shaolin monks sometimes, they back out a little bit, and then you have to actually press S, I believe it was, in order to like reset them. Only then are you able to really interact with them with relics anymore. You have to attack a building in order to get them to like get out that. Looks like he doesn't know about that one, and he has to move back with that one. Doesn't know that he's able to reset that one. Maybe now, still trying to do so.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the monk, you might as well take out your frustration and beat a couple villagers, but still trying to get that relic, not going to be able to do that. It will end up going down. Now, MarineLorD with his own monastery there on the south end near that gold mine will be able to get that relic. And now, both of these players, we had a little bit of a push onto BC's side, right? We had a little bit of a counter raid onto MarineLorD's side. I think based on economy count, however, we're looking at 80-60, 81-60. I like MarineLorD's spot here.
Yeah, MarineLorD definitely not in a bad spot. He was able to get a lot of damage over on Beasty's side, and I think there also was a bit of idle time there on the TCs from Beasty as he got idled on all of his food economy there. He's got a good army though, Beasty has, and he was able to collect 4 of the 5 relics on the map, so he is still in a good spot. Even though he wasn't able to secure that last relic, I don't think he was able to do so anyways with the knights returning from MarineLorD, but it's still frustrating when you see something like that happen.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to think about the swing. You know, it's not just you getting 80 gold per minute. It's your opponent not getting 80 gold per minute. So it's 160, kind of a difference. Now, Jeanne d'Arc, she's just showing off, getting these sacred sites. She can really do it all. She's going to be able to get that middle sacred site. MarineLorD continuing to wall around here as well, trying to keep Beasty back in that Chinese province on the south side. Beasty not taking no for an answer on that first Shaolin monk. Just having 1 or 2 units there, just having 1 or 2 lancers means that relic isn't going to get there. There's idle villagers up here on the north side. Looks like they got to get out of harm's way, but lancers, they'll be able to get a couple kills. This might even the count a little bit.
2 villagers managed to survive. The Rams are coming in as support. Quite sure what they're going to be able to achieve there. Behind that, MarineLorD, he's gotten up some walls of his own. Now drops a keep as well to secure some of these gold resources here on the side. And with that, map control right now, it feels like MarineLorD has the upper hand, even though Beasty has the bigger army at the moment. Also, Nest of Beast coming out for him.
Yeah, and I think It's funny because in the prior game, just because of how much feudal engagement was going on, we weren't able to see some of those nest of bees. But these siege apparatuses, these nest of bees, they still have their own little version of fireworks. I know the Byzantines are getting their claim to fame because of their Kirosephans and their Dromans. They're spreading fire, but China was the first one to do it, baby.
Exactly. And now the big army from Beasty is pushing forward. Outpost is coming up here for MarineLorD, but has to be cancelled. It would have gotten taken down either way, so he's falling back a little bit. Now makes that siege workshop a little bit further in the back. And oh, looks like we got a little bit of roboting going on.
Yeah, I do hear it. We do have cyborgs on both sides, it seems, as well in this battle. But Beasty continuing to push that initiative. He's moving north into the French area. He does have a siege superiority with the nest of bees. You can see the firework display trying to take off maybe a villager or two. That school of cavalry is at about half health and will end up going down if MarineLorD doesn't do anything about it. Now, you got to remember, I mean, yeah, this is a landmark. Yeah, this is important. It's also consecrated.
Yeah, so that's additional value that gets lost when that landmark gets taken down. Now, the consecration doesn't disappear on the landmark. He gets it again if he repairs it. But for the time being, his units are going to be a little bit more expensive when he wants to build them. And landmark victory condition approaching now. MarineLorD has to be careful now. He needs Springles. First Springled is going to be in production. Now, silver lining for him is that these Nest of Bees, they're not the Clock Tower Nest of Bee variant. So they do get taken down with 2 Springled shots like a normal Mangonel would.
Yeah, that's something really important to think about, as this Chinese variant is rather new. But Crackety, take a look at MarineLorD's army composition right now. He's got 56 total military units. Obviously, he does have a Springled. 45 of them are Arbalettrier. These Nest of Bees could rain a decent part of damage on them. They also do good damage to Springled. That Springled is now down, so Beasty can continue to push if he wants to. There's nothing stopping him.
And that's a lot of Springlets coming out from Beasty's side. He's up to 3 Springlets with a 4th one in queue. MarineLorD just lost his, and there's not another one in queue right now. He's just lacking the wood right now. He has a lot of gold in the bank. No wood to get these Springlets out.
Yeah, this is a very, just because of Cliffside, the map in general is pretty different. He's got a lot of little wood patches up north, but not pretty much any other resources. And you can see MarineLorD does get the technology for his consecrated buildings. One of them is in rubble, however, with the School of Cavalry, but it will decrease some of the cost when he continues to make units. You can see the siege of Beasty with 21 extra. Now with that consecration, he does go for the siege workshop. It's minus 25% food for all of them. Not really important. Once you get that upgrade, it means that minus 25% for the wood and the gold, which is going to help him in the siege department because he has got to catch up now.
Yeah, military count. I mean, it's looking even right now, and army value is ahead for MarineLorD, but these Springles are really what's game deciding here for him right now. As long as Beasty has the siege upper hand, with these Nest of Bees out, it's going to be very, very difficult for MarineLorD to really take any engagements here. Now, second TC from MarineLorD, it's going to get taken down. There's no way for MarineLorD to defend that right now.
Now, I mean, now he's down 1 town center. I mean, the economies for both of these civilizations were at over 100 for all of them. So, I mean, it could have done a lot more damage if it was 10 minutes ago. But now Springled's finally getting a little bit of a rendezvous with each other. One Springled going down on either side. But the Chinese do have a decent amount more Springled. The Nest of Bees are caught out. Oh my god, the Springles are able to take them. That's another one that goes down. I'm only seeing 1 beehive here now, Crackety.
Yeah, only 1 Nest of Bees. Springled still firing on each other. Beasty still has a slight Springled lead for now. MarineLorD will have to respect that Nest of Bees that is remaining for now. Also interesting, we saw earlier, every single siege unit there getting taken down provides a lot of experience for Gondak, and I think she might soon be able to get to her level 4 form.
Yeah, I think so too. There's been a decent amount of military engagements. Nest of Bees still trying to get to the Arbalettrier mass, but it ends up going down. Springleds are going to continue to go down. Jeanne d'Arc finally has fallen and will be able to be requeued right by the town center if he has enough gold. Beasty trying to make sure that he does not come back into this game. Chinese keep right on the southern side of that French province just because of the ability the Chinese keeps have to deal damage. MarineLorD has to back all the way up. The only thing he has is Springleds. He's starting to get trebuchets out of that siege workshop. You see that there's 1 trebuchet right now. There is a second in the queue. That's probably the only way he's going to be able to take down this keep. Outposts going around that destroyed landmark, that school of cavalry. This is Beasty just put a flag. It's basically like putting a flag on the moon and saying, hey, this is my spot. You are not getting it back.
And now MarineLorD, with that keep on the side, is going to be able to protect his resource there. Does have 2 trebuchets out. With that, the keep is slowly but surely going to get taken down. But Beasty behind all of that, he's done his farm transition. MarineLorD, not so much. He's struggling when it comes to the food income. Massively so.
Yeah, I mean, that's typical French, right? It's difficult for them to do a farm transition. They're so focused on food and gold, you know, because they're trying to get knights and they're trying to get Arbaletier and Castle Age. Wood sometimes, it's not their most famous resource. You know, it's not something that they really gather. Then now with MarineLorD, he's scrambling. Right now he's at 2,000 wood per minute and trying to use all of that wood to get a farm transition. It's rough for him because, you know, it really isn't the time. You know, he's got Chinese on his doorstep and he's got to do something about it.
For now, he is fine with investing into siege. It looks like there was also a little bit of engagement on MarineLorD's gold on the right-hand side. Looks like there were some outposts coming up, and with that, MarineLorD, he had to evacuate that gold mine.
Yeah, and that's difficult for Cliffside because we talked about it in the beginning of this match where all of the gold and stone nodes, as you can see, they're all around the cliff. So map control is really, really important in order to do it. Beasty with that keep, even though it's down now, he was able to get a little bit and keep the fight continuing in the French area. And we're continuing to see that MarineLorD trying to get up to population cap where Beasty is there with units in the queue. Now we're at the point of the game where it's all about stockpiling those resources.
Exactly. Imperial Age not yet on the menu for either of these places. Beasty is the first one, is getting close. Getting really close to Imperial Age. He's almost pop cap, so Imperial Age definitely feasible for him here.
I do think that we are a little bit robotic right now. I don't think people are really understanding this very well.
Beep, boop, robot boys, sample all of the sun we can build.
Take me to your leader.
Exterminate. Exterminate.
Oh my goodness.
Well, in the meantime, though, battle is still continuing here towards the middle. Sean trying to get on that nest of bees. Mangonel coming on MarineLorD. Looks like he has a slight siege upper hand. I'm not sure if all Springles are nearby now. Springle advantage is on the side for Beasty here. And he's getting really short triggers as well. Once that comes in, MarineLorD needs Imperial Age to get up to stuff when it comes to Springle War. Still even. And are we back? There we go, it's fixed. We're back, everybody. The AI started taking over, but we have defeated it. We're back, we're human, definitely, confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, I, for one, was enjoying our robot overlords, but now we're back to our regularly scheduled content, Imperial Age coming from Beasty. Oh my goodness. And you're exactly right. When we were talking about Springles, there was probably a lot of cyborgness going on. So just to reiterate, Springles with the extra Imperial Age technology. So he has that little bit of extra range. He can continue to push with those Springles and continuing to take that fight to MarineLord's side. And also a couple sacred sites from MarineLord. You see one in the middle and one on the eastern side. Those trebuchets a little bit out of the way here. One trebuchet going down. Nest of Bees trying to get good damage on the Arbaletier mass over here. That will be going down. Good use of an army composition change from MarineLord. He knew siege was the issue. That was the only way that was keeping China right next to his base. So what does he do? He makes the fastest unit there. He makes the unit with the bonus to siege, and he's like, well, I'm going to take him.
Military count now looking not so hot anymore for Beasty. A lot of siege has been taken down. But Beasty behind that, he still has the advantage when it comes to the overall income. Look at that. He's at 5,500 resource per minute right now. On the other hand side, MarineLorD, it's looking a little bit grim for him. It's only half that.
Yeah, it is only half that. I think, you know, what's very interesting too at this part of the game. Usually we see a lot of, not only with the villager counts that we see, but the military counts as well, consistently staying above population cap and staying to pop cap range. Jean finally returns to the battlefield. Man, she had a slumber for quite some time. She's missed quite a few battles. Remember, still at level 3. Begs the question, Crackety, if she was here a little bit sooner, she might be level 4 and starting to blast people.
Exactly. Oh, Nest of Bees once again out on the menu. AoE coming in from Jean as well. Has to be careful though on her horse. That means she is taking bonus damage from those spearmen. Has to be very, very careful with when and how she engages there. Trebuchet is trying to take some shots here against the Nest of Bees, and one Nest of Bee is very, very low HP right now. Oh, Springled is gonna get the shot onto MarineLorD Springled. MarineLorD also trying to age up here soon. He's trying to bank up the resource, but he has to reinvest into military, and Jean once again gets sniped by the Spearman mass.
Man, watching her go down multiple times in a game, it's very frustrating. You know, MarineLorD just paid that much gold, and now he's got to do it again at a time when he would rather be spending gold on other stuff, like military. And now the gold that was in his bank is going to stay in his bank. He realizes he cannot make up the military, the Nest of Bees from Zushi's Legacy. Just a little bit too much this game. Going to Beasty.
Yeah, looks like that fast castle age really paid off for him here. With all of the walls, it meant that MarineLorD wasn't able to push as much as he probably wanted to. And I feel like MarineLorD just going for that second TC as well, kind of not being able to harass Beasty as much as Beasty was able to harass MarineLorD in the previous matchup that we had that one. Yeah, it just seems like that was all the difference here.
Yeah, honestly, I really agree with you, Crackety. I feel like Jeanne d'Arc, from what we've seen so far, it feels like her strength, or I should say the civilization's strength, is getting that snowball. It's even snowballier than the parent French civilization. And that second TC, I agree. It kind of took the wind out of her sails. You know, that feudal age aggression and actually getting the military, it was probably at about, I want to say maybe 10, 11 minutes into the game, where usually you can get that same amount of units at like the 8-minute, something like that. You know, you can get some of those early battles. You're forcing those battles to happen. You're forcing your opponent to make feudal age units. So you have to take battles. Jeanne d'Arc then gets her XP and is able to get up to that ever pivotal level 3. So yeah, maybe a second TC might not be the play, but this is why we're doing these show matches for you guys. This is why, not only to explain everything that's going on with these civilizations, but there's a meta developing right in front of our very eyes, and hopefully all of you guys who are watching are able to participate in that. And as we go into our lobby screen and we're going to be in game 5, you can tell, looking at both me and Crackety, we are very much human. No robotics have been implanted into us in the middle of that game, I promise you.
No microchips here. And yeah, it's going to be our game number 5. It's going to be on African waters, and we're in the draft at the moment. But before that, there's a very cool way that you could support EGCTV over here on Twitch. It's with Twitch Prime, not just Twitch Prime, but also the normal Twitch sub. We're currently on our way to Partnership Plus over here on Twitch. Only the normal subscriptions count for that one, not gifted subs, not Prime subs, just the normal subs. So if you have a Twitch Prime maybe running on this channel, very much appreciate if you if you use it for another channel, that's fine. We're not mad. We're not mad. If you use another sub here, that would be where we really appreciate that, and getting us up to that Partnership Plus program. Very much appreciate. Also Patreon, EGCTV. We got our Patreon now, where you can directly support EGCTV and help us bring out all of these amazing tournaments and show matches for you guys. So !Patreon. Let me check that. I hope the command is still there. It should be. And there we go. EGCTV Patreon. That's the best place to support EGCTV at the moment, helping us bring all of you guys these amazing tournaments. And it's going to be an amazing time for tournaments. We got EGC finals coming in this year, and then next year there's going to be a completely new season of Age of Empires 4 esports.
Oh yeah, we're riding the train. We got tournament after tournament for EGC TV. So please buckle up, keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times, because this show match, it's just the appetizer. It's just the starting salad. The entree has not begun yet. We're going to see EGC finals coming in a little bit later in the calendar year, but let's not foreshadow too much from what we got, we have a 2-2 split. We have, even though this is a play all 7, this might just end up being a best of 7 between these guys because super good players, obviously. We all know MarineLorD and Beasty, but they're at such an upper echelon of talent level. I feel like they're really in a league of their own. So watching them play these civilizations, and with someone like you, Crackety, who's obviously very knowledgeable on the source, we're all going to be able to learn at the same time. And hopefully all of you guys in chat are enjoying it. Now, game number 5, heading to your TV, monitor, phone, wherever you happen to be watching it. We are on African waters. You take a look at this map. There are 2 different pools with deep water fish, with shoreline fish on either side. And based on how close these town centers spawn to one another, it's Crackety, it's pandemonium.
Yeah, I mean, you see the TC distance between these two players. I think if we pan the camera, you could probably get both TCs almost on the same screen. It is a very, very close distance here now, and there's a ton of food in the middle. And one of the civilizations that we're seeing here is the Ayubids. They get the ore cards on the berry bushes when they build a mill next to it. So potential for the Ayubids to get a lot of food in the middle of the map. We saw the Ayubids being really, really strong earlier today on water. So this might be another instance where maybe Beasty could sneak up a dock on his opponent's side, on his opponent's pond, and yeah, if we see another one of these really, really fast fuel age-ups, it could be difficult for MarineLorD to deal with that.
Yeah, I think there's great potential of that happening, Crackety. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head because we saw how quickly you can get up there, right? We talked about in the prior game with Beasty playing the Byzantines and MarineLorD as the Ayubids, just having that first naval ship is so important. So maybe we do see a cheeky dock all the way on the south side. And also, I mean, to continue to relay on the pandemonium, maybe we see some shinobis getting in the wood line of the Ayubids. That could be quite a difficult thing for Beasty to deal with as well.
Oh, it's not just the woodline. If MarineLorD gets 2 shinobis out, he's going to be able to permanently disable one of the docks from Beasty, or sabotage it rather. What that means is, as long as the building is sabotaged, Beasty isn't going to be able to produce anything out of that building, or rather, production is going to be completely halted. So if Beasty tries to sneak up a dock on his opponent's side, if MarineLorD gets there in time with the shinobi, he will be able to kind of stop that aggression there.
Yeah, absolutely. That 30 seconds is huge, right? Just to take down some of those, and for it to be burning, just to have that little bit of damage on it too, just means for the Japanese, if they do have any kind of naval ships, they might be able to take down an Ayubid dock pretty quickly. So we'll see what landmark they choose to go. But obviously, just because we're going in the naval route, it takes a little bit more time. But Cracky, let's talk about, we did see the Japanese once. Let's talk about them a little bit just in terms of new stuff that they have in Dark Age. You see a forge right there. What is that doing?
Yeah, the Forge is a unique building there for the Japanese. They kind of combine a blacksmith and a mining camp, so it's a little bit bigger. It's a 3x3 building, but you get access to both the blacksmith upgrades as well as the mining camp upgrades, and you're able to drop off gold and stone there. So it's a very, very cool building. Also only costs 50 wood, so you save a lot on blacksmiths there. They also get a unique house. They get a farmhouse, which is a combination of a normal house and a mill, so you can drop off food at the farmhouse. You can also get a unique kind of wheelbarrow upgrade, the Tawara there, which then splits off into 2 additional upgrades in the Feudal Age and the Castle Age. The Tawara boosts the food gathered from berry bushes and the movement speed by villagers by 7%, 3 times, so you can get up to 20%, 21% additional movement speed on your villagers in the Castle Age.
Yeah, that extra movement speed, plus with the carrying capacity by 3 every single time, it means they can carry 19. Which is better than the normal wheelbarrow. And of course, hovering over that forge, as you can see that gold being deposited on that forge. You also get a little bit of stone with it. So it just means it helps make your transitions a little bit easier if you did something like a town center. If you did something like trying to get the upgrades for your initial town center for the Daimyo Palace and such, you might be able to do that a little bit quicker. Now, speaking of quick, Beasty going to be going up with that House of Wisdom and probably hitting a technology very soon. MarineLorD going for the Coca Township, and we all know out of those Cocas come the Shinobis. So we are going to see a little bit of a late Dark Age, early Middle Age brouhaha with those Shinobis.
Yeah, Beastie so far, he hasn't clicked up his H-up yet, so he's only going to get a normal age up timing if he goes for that culture wing, fast age up wing that we talked about in the previous game, or rather the Byzantine versus Ayubids matchup earlier. It's definitely going to be a little bit of a delayed age up, but doesn't look like he's going for it. It looks like it's going to be one of the full price wings here for him. And this is going to be a very late age up compared to the Japanese MarineLorD. He's almost up to next age. Beasty hasn't even clicked it, and he's not going to be able to. Beasty's not going to be able to speed up the age up. It's going to be a full 2-minute age up timing.
Yeah, I mean, and when we talk about that with the Abyssids, too, I mean, for the Abyssids, it's 1 minute 45 seconds whether you like it or not, right? For the Ayubids, I mean, the House of Wisdom, it's the same thing. Even though you can click different things, it still kind of operates the same. And now MarineLorD's starting to get a little cheeky on the side of African waters that is closest to Beasty. Another dock coming out for him, and it looks like might not be able to get up in time. The Ayubids pulled a village worth of villagers. It looks like there's about 6 of them trying to make headway, try to take down that dock not going up.
That is a lot of villagers. 3 villagers now trying to chase that one. On the other side, though, Beasty, he managed to sneak up a dock on MarineLorD's side. It's like MarineLorD's trying to go for a little bit of a loop around here. Is he pulling additional villager? No, he's waiting for the shinobi to come in. Once these shinobis arrive, Beasty, he's not going to be able to deny that dock, and that dock is going to go up in the end here. Age up almost complete, 30 more seconds. There's no military ship yet for MarineLorD on water. Now he sees the second dock from Beasty, though, so might have to Q1 sooner rather than later, and that dock on Beasty's pond is going to be going up.
Yeah, oh, you just saw the shinobi blink over there on the western side, and it will be able to take down one of those villagers as well. MarineLorD, instead of going for naval arrow slits, which you can get pretty easily as Japanese, just because we talked about the stone getting deposited while he's mining gold. Instead of going for the arrow slits, he's going for military ships. He wants to take battle to the water rather than the shore on this one. But now we're looking at both of these waters, Crackety. We got 2 different colored docks on 2 different ponds. This is when the micro of these players is going to shine. We know how much micro intensive it is to deal with water. You're dealing with 2 of them, plus what's going on in your home base. We're going to see who comes out on top here.
It looks like so far MarineLorD, he's not reacted yet to what's coming out there from Beasty. Beasty with the Bazaar, he's getting some Bedouin skirmishers for cheap. Now these Bedouin skirmishers, they're relatively cheap unit. Oh, that was another shinobi. For a second I thought it was a villager, but no, that's another shinobi. And with that, these Bedouin skirmishers, they're going to go down. But now Beasty also having a ship on the pond from MarineLorD. It's going to be caught by surprise here. He has to react to that. Does so now. Archer ship is going to be coming out. There's already a demo ship and an archer ship out for Beasty, though. So it's not going to be a Springle ship from him. MarineLorD, he could pull some of the shinobis to the top side, or rather to his own pond, to be able to kind of disable the docks there. Now it seems like he's content with just trading it out.
It almost kind of looks like for these ponds, they're kind of trading one another. One was predominantly MarineLorD, one was predominantly Beasty as Dark Age, and then the switch kind of flipped on these guys. So Beasty getting that demo ship on the fishing boats, not necessarily taking out the boats, but make them just 1 arrow hit away. And now with the Bagla from the Ayubids on the south side, trying to take down the Springle ship from the Japanese, but naval arrow slits is going to be able to help them out
out
again.
Of wood.
That's
Beasty
an issue.
is completely out of wood right now. Where is he getting wood from? He's not. Okay, he's going back onto wood now. I'm not sure what that was. Right now he's on 0 wood per minute. He's not able to produce anything, and that's going to buy a ton of very, very precious time here for MarineLorD. If he gets 2 shinobis back, he's going to be able to completely deny these docks out as well on his own side. And it looks like he's actually going to be able to completely destroy the docks from Beasty on his own pond.
Yeah, it begs the question, what happened to that wood line? Maybe there was something like a shinobi over there, but I mean, there's a decent amount of villagers on that wood line now. Instead,
oh, Beasty aged up.
He's going up to Castle Age. Unbelievable.
These new tech ups, they don't really show up on the caster UI yet. And there we go. He went up with the trade wing here.
I mean, he did go up
the culture wing. The culture wing. Yeah, it was the cheap culture wing, I think.
Yeah, so it was a little bit cheaper for him to get to Castle Age, but I mean, at what cost? Right? He's got a military count deficit of 24 to 0. he basically gave up both of his pawns to do that. So he's going to transition pretty much everything on land. You see a couple barracks going up for Beasty. The Ayubids, just like the Abyssids, they do have the potential to Gulam spam, and that might be what Beasty is trying to do, but the food's not there.
Oh yeah, and Gulams, you need a lot of them if you want to fight against Shinobi. The Shinobi, 20 melee damage plus 5 versus melee. They do a ton of damage even to Gulams, so you need a ton of units there. And MarineLorD, he's getting some early Samurai out as well. These also don't do too badly against the Gulams.
Yeah, and I think for the Samurai, just because they are that, stereotypical anti-infantry kind of unit, there's also upgrades in the Forge that really help in terms of melee damage. So the extra, for how much HP the Gulam has, it might be able to take out Demo Ship with a nice little boom. We saw a nice little firework display on the shoreline, taking down a couple units trying to burn down that dock. But Beasty is getting absolutely shinobied to death. So many worker kills for MarineLorD. It's 24, economic count 51 to 33.
Beasty, he's gotten 2 traders out of his Bizarre Wing. And that MarineLorD, he's now going up to his Daimyo. He's gonna be able to get some more defense on his TC and some farm bonuses there as well. Don't think he's gonna do a farm transition anytime soon, though, with the amount of fishing that he's got going on now.
No, most likely not. I would agree with you.
Probably now just for the Bannerman.
Yeah, I would think so. Just for the Bannerman, yeah. Samurai, he's going to be able to continuously pump and probably at a level that's higher than Beasty. So these Shinobi continuing to rain their particular form of hell around this area. More villagers going down. You can see how quickly, just because of the melee damage being so high, how quickly those villagers going down. And for Beasty, it doesn't look like he has a really good answer right now to them.
He's pumped on a couple of Gulams. 7 Gulams, 2 Bedouin Skirmishers for him right now. Now, the Bedouin Skirmisher, that's a unique unit that you can get out from the Bazaar as the Ayubids. The Bazaar is one of the potential trade age-ups that you have. You get multiple options for every single wing, and one of them gives you access to the Bazaar. You can see Core hovering over them here. You get options for specific units if you trade in some gold. Every now and then you spawn these traders that you can exchange for these trade-offs.
Yeah, a couple of those units are not necessarily going to make your army, but having a couple of them to help you out, especially while Beasty is under the kind of duress that he has. He does have a little bit of gold, so it might be able to help him in that department if he chooses to. He does have a couple Bedouin Skirmishers out there on the map somewhere trying to get a decent Gulam mass, but even, with the Gulams, you're supposed to be in MarineLorD's base. You're supposed to be taking down villagers. They're going home.
And that MarineLorD, he needs more gold right now. He's got a lot of villagers on gold. Once he gets that, he's going to be able to age up as well. He's already got the food for it. Lots of income right now with all of these different docks going on. And more samurais coming out as well.
Yeah, you can see how much food MarineLorD has per minute. About 2,000 food per minute just because of all of the fishing that's going on. Able to make sure he didn't get a lot of damage done to his base because of the Gulam rush. And now Castle Age, he did hit the button. He's going with the floating gate, so he's going to be able to create those Shinto priests that we saw previously. And I think just because of the fact that he can get Castle Age units is going to spell disaster for Beasty.
And now the Samurai, even though in Feudal Age, they do still trade out very, very well here against the Gulam in this mass. Able to take some of them out. Still more Gulams now diving the base from MarineLorD, but he's just going to turn around. It's enough Samurai here to fend that off. Samurai also with their blocking attacks, and since they're not taking as much damage, you can also get an additional attack upgrade on them in Feudal Age, so they're not actually that weak here. It looks like MarineLorD didn't get those, but still, the Samurai are doing good work here.
And even with the Samurai, I'm glad you said about negating some of that damage. For the Samurai, it kind of negates the Gulam's double attack in the beginning, right? If you can just negate one of them, it's like what the Gulam is ever so popular for, they don't have anymore. So Samurai, just an absolutely perfect counter to the Gulam rush. And now MarineLorD's got about 20 Samurai. Beasty's got about 6.
Yeah, this is looking very difficult for him now. Beasty does have a couple of Bedouin swordsmen as well, but it's not going to be enough from the looks of it.
No, I don't think so either. He did put his, Yarashiro in the forge, so he will be able to get some of those upgrades, and we'll be getting them rather quickly. You're seeing the veteran samurai upgrade come in. Now it's 12 attack with a +2 already. That +2 is going to get increased very quickly. Also, Crackety, let's hover over the barracks for the Japanese, because you got to see some of these unique technologies that they have. He was hovering over one with Odachi that was getting researched, but also Nagayari for the spearmen. Even though there's only samurai here, the spearmen will be able to increase some of their damage to cavalry as well. So really good infantry civ these Japanese are.
Yeah, the Odachi coming in. That's going to be giving the Japanese samurai a +4 damage against melee units, or rather against enemy infantry. They're going to be doing a lot of damage to these golems as well, as they do count as infantry. Odachi just about to come in. We can see their weapons now getting switched out. With that, MarineLorD, he could fight. He could take the fight now. Beasty behind this is also adding in some crossbowmen. On top of that, MarineLorD going for the Onimusha, going for the crossbowman replacement. We also see Camel Lancer coming out here in this game now. The Camel Lancer is interesting because there's an interaction between the Camel Lancer on the Onimusha, which usually wouldn't happen. So the Onimusha is the crossbowman replacement, but it's on a horse. It's a mounted crossbowman. So that means that the Camel Lancer actually affects the Onimusha with its Camel Unease ability, so it does less damage.
Yeah, anything on horseback, is the camels do spook them. So even just having 1 or 2 Camel Lancers is going to help him in Beasty transitioning into doing that. Not necessarily the cheapest unit to use, however, and with the crossbowmen as well. I really like these Japanese units, these horse archers that have the ability to do a little bit of damage to that heavy armor, because even though the Camel Lancer is going to help bring them down just a little bit against Gulams, it's going to be target practice for them.
Exactly. Behind all of this, MarineLorD, he still has a really, really good economy. Oh, Shinto Priest trying to collect one of the relics, but Camel Lancer is going to be in position here to snipe that Shinto Priest. It's going down. Has to be rebuilt now. Actually, MarineLorD, he still has one of his Shinto Priests, so he can just pick that relic up. And now, once again, he's attacking Beasty on the land. Beasty's whole economy is on land. There's no water economy for him remaining. So if MarineLorD wins a fight here on land, which it looks like he is doing right now, he'll be able to close out the game.
Yeah, this really looked like Beasty's last stand. It was probably the most amount of Gulams he was going to get because of the samurai that were coming in that direction. Even that one lone Gulam makes quick work. And as soon as that last Gulam drops to the floor, the match is a complete. Game going to the Japanese on this game 5. So MarineLorD going to be able to take a 3-2 lead in this show match because of it. I'll tell you what, super good use of samurai. We really got to see the strength of the samurai, especially against Gulam, a unit that they really just take out easily.
Yeah, exactly. And we can see here in the economy count, the moment that Beasty lost water, I think it was, as you said earlier, a shinobi raid probably on his woodline, kind of completely denying him wood for a prolonged period of time. And that manifested in a way that Beasty just wasn't able to really reinforce anything on water at that point in time. And with that, MarineLorD taking both the pawns, able to scale his economy. Look at that, 5,000 more food, able to overwhelm on land afterwards.
And, that's crazy power for the shinobi because, yeah, he stopped the wood count for about 30 seconds. And I know we're talking about a game that's maybe about 20 minutes long, but that 30 seconds was probably the most pivotal. Losing water like that, losing both pawns, because how much wood you need to it being able to have some kind of naval presence on both pawns. Just stopping that wood production, stopping that wood per minute for 30 seconds. We saw it. It was at flat 0.
Yeah, it was completely idled out there. And that really made the difference there. Beasty not being able to put any more ships out on water. But now we're going to be looking at our game number 6 here of the day. And it's going to be Byzantines versus Order of the Dragon. And it's going to be on Glade. So this is a really, really interesting map. So it's a little bit of a combination of, I would say, Black Forest with mountain clearing, which the concept itself just sounds super, super interesting. You start off in this little bit of a clearing in like a really, really big wood line. And then the middle is completely open with a sacred side, and there's a lot of resource in the middle, and you have to push out at some point. And if you kind of like hole yourself up inside your base, there's only so many resources, and especially only so much space that you have. You actually can't go for food transition in there, for a farm transition, just because the space that you lack. So if your opponent's able to trap you inside like your own little clearing there, that could be a very interesting way to play the game there.
Oh yeah, I mean in that little pocket that's there, if your map control is reduced to that little pocket, I mean you're gonna die in that pocket. You know, there's really nothing you could do in that area. I think it's really all about getting units out quickly, making sure that you're able to get that little bit of space, and especially as a civilization like the Byzantines. You know, we weren't able to talk about the Byzantines too much because the first game that we had with them wasn't very long. We didn't really see some of the high scale of where the Byzantines can really end up in something like late Castle Age, Imperial Age, or something like that. We might not see it in Glade just because of how small the map is, but maybe we'll be able to talk about, you know, the Byzantines individual uniquities, because when you're playing Byzantines, which I'm sure you've played a decent amount, and I actually watched you do this morning, it's almost like playing a different game.
Yeah, Byzantines are very cool. A very, very cool civilization indeed to play, and it's interesting. There's so much like thought that you have to put into your kind of base building, into how you want to, like, what kind of goal you want to go for. Do you want to go into mercenaries? If you want to go into mercenaries, you have to transition into some kind of buildings that generate olive oil at some kind of time, like the olive groves. You have to go onto berries. Um, there's a lot of theory crafting behind that, behind the Byzantines, sort of like the PhD civilization in Age of Empires 4. You have to do a lot of tinkering with them to really get used to them. But once you get used to them, they can be very, very strong. They have a lot of unique units, as you mentioned, and a lot of unique strengths that just kind of flip the game around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, unique units, unique technologies, unique economy bonus. Hopefully, we get to see all of them in full display in this game 6. Beasty going with the Order of the Dragon, which we might be a little bit more familiar with, but our game 6 is ready to go. We have MarineLorD spawning in the north pocket of Glade, playing as the color red again. Beasty in the south to southwest, kind of like the 7 o'clock pocket, we'll say, over there as the Order of the Dragon. To be honest, Crackety, I mean, looking at this map, as you can see, you know, not only with your pocket, but what's going on in the periphery, kind of looks like a 5-leaf clover for perspective. I kind of like this map for Order of the Dragon. They can kind of get their feet out from under them before they venture out.
Yeah, Order of the Dragon, like having less villagers there means you also don't take as much space. I think they could probably be fine, like being constricted to the amount of space that's out there. Yeah, this is it's a very, very interesting map. Also, it doesn't come with 2 sacred sites. You have with one sacred site, it has 2 sacred sites, which is very cool. So it's not like a King of the Hill kind of map where it's only that one spot where you put like one keep on and suddenly the game goes downhill from there. There's multiple spots that you have to take map control on if you want to get that sacred site victory. And we see the Byzantines here starting off with that cistern, buffing up all the villagers nearby. That is a very, very big aura, so it also stretches all the way to those villagers on the sheet. Boost them up by 5% right now, and you're able to increase that bonus by connecting multiple cisterns with the aqueducts, 2 unique buildings there for the Byzantines. Costs a lot of stone, but the Byzantines do generate a lot of stone by default. They get 2 stone for every tile that a building takes up, so normal 2x2 building gives them a total of 8 stone.
Yeah, and having that little bit, as you see, that first cistern taking 50 stone, that second cistern taking 100. So getting those little bit of buildings like your lumber camp, getting a little bit of stone, the mining camp, getting a little bit of stone. You're going to make houses at some point that give you a little bit too. It means you don't need to actually mine too much in order to get maybe 2, maybe 3 cisterns. And I really like the base building aspect of the Byzantines, because take a look at where that cistern is. If you don't mind clicking on it for me one more time, you see the influence around it. This box there, when you put buildings there, that's the influence where it goes. And then the outside circle, that radius, is what the villagers get the influence in. And Core is highlighting over Conscriptio, which is what the cistern is doing right now with military unit production rate increase. Right now it's only 20% because of 1 water. Dialecticus is the second one, which increases research rate at rather alarming rates. Once you get to 4 to 5 cisterns, plus 200 to 250 is incredible. And then if we go over to Presidium, which is the last one, the building damage taken decreased by a certain percentage, obviously, once you get to those high level of cisterns. And also, let's not forget Akratoy defense, something that when I play Byzantines, I forget all the time. But those villagers, you can make them just a little bit stronger. You can give them a little bit more oomph in some of their attacks. So if you are getting your aqueducts raided and you realize one of your cisterns is going to break and your water is going to break, you can use Akratoy defense, try to take down some of those units.
And look at that, Beasty. Going for the Archon Chapel. Beautiful location. Gets the gold. Gets the... I don't think the sheep are going to be in range, but he can just send them over to the Archon Chapel later on in the game. He pushes the deer in as well, so he has a lot of wood, a lot of gold, and a lot of food right on that Archon Chapel. Now, the Archon Chapel for the Order of the Dragon, it's not as big of an impact as the Archon Chapel is for the normal archery. Instead of getting plus 40 with the inspiration, you get plus 10 around the Archon Chapel. Still a significant bonus, but considering that your villagers already get boosted up by 25%, it's not as big as the normal Archon Chapel.
No, it actually isn't. And it begs the question, because we talked about this a little bit prior, it begs the question, what landmark is actually better? You know, we talk about HRE, the parent civilization. It's drag your face on the keyboard, pick the Archon Chapel, and just move on with your life. With Order of the Dragon, it might be a little bit different. With this one, the Archon Chapel is going to provide a decent benefit and does have, actually, Beasty does have 367 stone. So going with all of those villagers, once the Archon Chapel provides that drop-off point, going to be going for a second town center in a very wallable area of this map. So he might not get punished for the greed.
Exactly. Behind that, though, MarineLorD, he's also looking to go for that second TC. Once the Grand Winery finishes, he's going to get an additional 32 stone. So he actually only needs to mine a total of 930 stone from his stone outcropping. And with that, he's going to have a fast second TC of his own there very, very soon.
Yeah, you know, Crackety, I'm kind of curious on your opinion in Feudal Age landmark for the Byzantines, as you see the second town center coming up between the Grand Winery and the Hippodrome. I mean, the Hippodrome that we could see has a lot of raiding potential. It acts as a stable. You can use the horsemen right out the gate. They have a Triumph ability, which gives them healing. It gives them some extra oomph on those horsemen to take down villagers rather quickly. Is there a particular landmark in the Byzantine games that you've played where you've seen one landmark outshine the other? Or do you think it's kind of based on the map, based on the opponent?
I would say the landmarks are fairly balanced between each other. Now, the Grand Winery, what it provides is a lot of early access to mercenaries. Usually, the amount of olive oil that you get out of a 6 patch of berry bushes is going to be 750 olive oil. With the Grand Winery, that gets boosted up to 1200. So you get an additional sort of 450 olive oil out of that. That's going to be enough for most mercenary contracts to provide you with an additional batch of mercenaries. Now we see the enclosure here. Beasty is going to be walling himself in here. Now, this does, for one, provide him with some security, some safety, as well as denying some information there from MarineLorD. He's not going to be able to have his scout in there and know exactly what Beasty is going for. Not going to be able to be in range of the gold, see when Beasty is going to be going up. But also provides MarineLorD with the opportunity to potentially wall Beasty in here.
Yeah, I think on this map, I can see the frustration in that. You know, you want to see what your opponent is doing, but just because of these little pockets, you're going in blind. The only thing that you're going to be really able to scout is the middle area where all of those relics are, where some of those deer patches, those sacred sites are. So it feels like at this point, it almost feels like Arena in AoE 2. Once you put that wall down, it's like, hey, I'm going to do my thing. I'll see you in Castle Age, and we'll take it from there.
Now it looks like Beasty is going to be going for a fast Castle Age behind that. He's got a lot of villagers on food, a lot of villagers on gold. Everything beautifully buffed up by that Archon Chapel, so should be a very, very fast age up for him. We see MarineLorD behind that. He is going for it at a similar rate rather than... I mean, he's trying to go for it as well, but he's also scaling with the aqueducts, with the cistern, so there's a little bit of a delay there as he has invested into that. He's also only on berries right now, instead of the deer. So he's getting olive oil on top of everything else, but he's not going to be as quick when it comes to aging up. Look at that, Beasty's resource right now. It was at 800 food per minute right there with the last drop-off, and he's very soon going to be able to click up here. That's going to be a very, very quick age up for him.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy with the second town center for Order of the Dragon. The villagers, not only the military, but the villagers themselves are quality over quantity. So he's trying to get rid of that quantity aspect to get as many villagers as he can. Now, with him as the Order of the Dragon going up to Castle Age, they are an HRE variant. He's going to get first dibs on those relics. And that's what Beasty's really, really going for. Now, remember, you can't really make prelates out of those town centers. You need monasteries. So that Regnant's Cathedral acting as a monastery means he can churn out some prelates, grab these relics at a time when, yes, MarineLorD is stockpiling some resources. Not only is he stockpiling olive oil, you can see how much he's got. He's got barrels of it. But also trying to get to Castle Age, which he's going to be a minute and a half behind. And I've noticed this, Crackety, with Byzantines, where there's so many things you want to do. You know, you want to get your eco going with the town center. You want to get your cistern and your aqueducts. You want to get olive oil for the mercenary house. It just seems so difficult to do all of it. And I think that's where, when people do figure it out, that's going to be the magic of the Byzantines.
Yeah, now MarineLorD, he is going for the Western mercenary contract. I would have assumed that he might go for the Eastern one, just because it provides you access to the Keshiks, and he probably needs some Keshiks to be able to deny the relics here from Beasty. Instead, he's going for the Western one. That gives him access to longbows, but Beasty, he opened up with Stable. So if he gets a Knight out, I don't think that MarineLorD with a couple of longbowmen is going to be able to do anything against that.
Yeah, I think those longbowmen will be shooting marshmallows at something like a Gilded Knight just because of how much health and how much ranged armor they actually have. Now, Byzantines aren't a slouch in the Castle Age Knight department either. You know, they do have their cataphracts, but it's all about getting there. Beasty's already there. MarineLorD's got to catch up.
MarineLorD still very far behind overall. Like Beasty, he's been aged up for like 2 minutes now. MarineLorD just now clicking up with the Golden Horn Tower. Interesting landmark there. Gives him a total of, I think it was every 90 seconds-ish, if it's in the influence of the Cistern. It spawns some of your mercenaries for free. Don't have to invest any resources into that. So that somewhat equals like around 300 olive oil per minute that you're getting out of that landmark for free in terms of value. It's a good amount of value, especially just having it out as units being produced 24/7. That's always nice, just having those free units. Case anything happens.
You know, it is really nice, and even though it happens at random, you know, once you get the improved contract, you get the veteran contract. So with MarineLorD going with the Western contract, he has Longbowman and then Landsknecht are going to be the one when he does improve it. It does happen randomly, but you're exactly right. Having that extra 300 olive oil, it's going to help him try to get some map control back in this point, because Beasty's had the first minute of it with these knights. MarineLorD going to be having a stable here and going to be making cataphracts. So we're going to see some of those. We're going to see basically beefy boys on both sides beating each other.
Exactly. First Lumberman, we're able to pick off one of the prelates there. There's another prelate out there. He could get that relic. Look at that knight damage. Being able to two-shot these Lumbermen. That's a lot of damage going out on them. Cataphract also out on the field. Could be looking to deny the relic in the corner there. That's a lot of Lumbermen as well. They're soon to be upgraded to their veterancy status. And now we go Gilded Knight. Gonna be... gets the charge off against the Cataphract. That's some heavy damage right there. Really on the Gilded Knight, it's definitely gonna be stronger than the Cataphract.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at the actual HP and the damage coming from both of them, and the fact the Knight can get a good charge, right? The Byzantines, because of the Cataphract, doesn't have the necessary capabilities to do that. Those Knights can be a little bit faster through that charge, so he's going to need more of them. And that's one of the things that the Order of the Dragon might struggle with, because yes, there's one Gilded Knight out there, but there's only one. You just got to do your best to avoid it. A second one just hit the battlefield, so hopefully MarineLorD can get enough cataphracts to take fights. And also going into another unique unit for the Byzantines, Limitane, their form of spearmen, trying to help out to take down the Knights also.
Yeah, that's a very, very cool unit. Limitane getting that shield wall ability on them as well. Taking 50% reduced range damage. Now, Cataphract able to pick off that prelate there. Lumberman firing onto those Gilded Knights. It's a lot of them. And there's no defense upgrades yet, so they actually do a good amount of damage there to these knights. And now Limitani surrounding them as well. Gilded Knights, that's costly losses, that knight going down. The Monk from MarineLorD making its way over to the relic there.
And you know, that's the one damaging thing about the Order of the Dragon. Yeah, they have such buff units, and they have such cool looking aesthetic units, but if you get them in harm's way and you can't get them out, it's huge, especially for knights. That's 280 resources that go completely down the drain. Beasty trying to shore up defenses. He's got an outpost that he's going to put a relic in, and he's going to go for stone walls as well, as we can look at the macro from the top left part of the screen. Beasty's thinking about Imperial.
Yeah, looks like Beasty is going to be completely fine with sort of walling himself in here in the corner of the map, in his own little enclosure. Question is going to be, though, for how long is he going to be fine with that? Palace of Swabia gives him the option to boom a lot there. But he's only got so much gold excess. He only has 2 relics, only that 1 gold vein. Long term, that could be very difficult for him. And look at that, Lumberman making sure these walls don't fully go up.
Yeah, I think MarineLorD did a really good job in terms of map control. I mean, we kind of scoffed at the Longbowmen a little bit because they're like, oh, there's Gilded Knights. What are they actually going to do? But I think it was just the fact that he had a decent amount of them. He had enough units to kind of sprawl out a little bit, and it made sure that Beasty wasn't going to get every single relic on the map. With 2, obviously, with Regnus Cathedral, it's going to help you out a little bit, but you know, obviously getting 3, 4, maybe even 5, if MarineLorD didn't do as well of a job, could mean the tides could definitely turn. And it looks like MarineLorD knows that for Beasty, he's trying to shore up his defenses, which means something's going on back there that MarineLorD wants to know about. So he is going to ram that stone wall down, and it looks like we're going to see our first Kiro Siphon.
Yeah, 3 Kiro Siphons coming out immediately, and these are some really, really cool rams. They cost an additional 100 gold, but they got a fire attack. And that fire attack does massive damage to buildings. They also have more range than a normal ram, so you don't have that awkward like pathing issue with normal rams where they kind of block each other. They got a little bit of range, so you have a little bit of a leeway when it comes to microing them with the pathing and everything. And now we're going to be seeing its damage against the stone walls.
Yeah, and hopefully when those rams actually make contact with the stone wall, we'll see some of that Greek fire hitting, and there it is, spraying all over that wall. If you didn't know, the Greek fire that comes out has a little bit of pine resin with it that actually helps it stick to different substances, and that's what's going on against these stone walls. That's going down, going to make quick work of the wood palisade wall behind it. That's for sure. Sacred victory coming in from MarineLorD. He has the map control now. He's got the sacred sites. Okay, he's got the military prowess, military count 31-7. For him, he's kind of on a clock because he wants to make sure for the Order of the Dragon Imperial Age, he wants to make sure it doesn't pay off, right? So he's going to take the battle to him. Look at that, even that outpost being fortified, quick work to it. He needed emergency repairs to bring that thing back up to speed, and if he didn't use that, it'd be dead already.
And now he doesn't have emergency repair anymore. That means that now the villagers are getting pulled, but the outpost that he's just trying to get the bombard cannon placement on, it's going to get taken down immediately. And with that, he loses the relic, and monks are already there to deny the relic. He's taking that immediately. Beasty playing the HRE without any relics remaining here soon. Has a Springled though. Springled is shooting on that Kiro Siphon. It's a good amount of damage to it. That outpost looks to be going down here. That's going to be another relic, and with that, Beasty, he's not going to be having any relics anymore. No gold income for him.
Absolutely disintegrated. Those outposts, the wall, and then it looked like its job was done, so it just popped itself out of existence. But I know the Springle took a hit out of that one. But you're absolutely right. It's Order of the Dragon or HRE variant with no relics. We have an empty Regnitz. What's really nice is the farm fields around the Aachen Chapel, kind of like the HRE of old, are still there, but Core is pointing to that gold vein. Over there on the south side, there's only 300 left. He does not have the army to move out.
He's right now, he's going to be relying on Siege in order to push out. Behind that, MarineLorD, he's already got some Varangian guards out, and he's going to soon be on his way to the next age. Wondering what kind of landmark he's going for. If he goes for the mercenary landmark, he could get a lot of royal cannons out as well. Now Mangonel's a little bit out of position. Oh, the Cataphracts take some big damage there, but oh, They're getting in on the Mangonels. Mangonels get taken out. And with that, Beasty, he's got no more military remaining. He's producing more Spearmen right now. But with that, MarineLorD gets checkmate, and Beasty has to call the GG.
Wow. That was a difficult one for the Beastie side. I really thought that when he got to Castle Age a little bit earlier, I thought he was going to be able to take more relics than he did. But it looks like he only had 2 in his possession that got yoinked pretty quickly by some of the Byzantine monks that were there. And you could take a look at, obviously, the graphs that we're seeing. Villager count is always going to be a little bit more on MarineLorD's side just because of the Order of the Dragon producing a little bit more slowly. But if we take a look at some of the resources, MarineLorD stuck in Castle. He made a lot of his units via olive oil. So a lot of the resources that he did have, he was able to use on expensive units like cataphracts. It seems like having cataphracts with mercenaries, with olive oil units, really makes a good composition.
Yeah, you don't even need to invest into your own archer units at all. So you don't even need to get that much wood to pump out archers. You just get the longbowmen for the olive oil, and it's very cool with the Byzantines having all of these unique options there. Beasty playing the Order of the Dragon like you would play the normal HRE, and I feel like that's a little bit the mistake there. I talked about earlier, I don't think you can play them like you play ordinary HRE. I think you have to play them a little bit more aggressive. So the fast castle after the second TC, I think kind of put him into an awkward spot there against the Byzantines, who are able to get these unique mercenary units out on the field.
Yeah, because we saw that once he did do that, he didn't really have the necessary resources to make a lot of those units that are really, really expensive. I mean, a lot of these are pretty much double the cost. All of these units are, and they take 2 populations, so that makes sense. But you still need a bolus of resources at the start to actually queue the unit in the first place to get it to produce. So, yeah, I think you're exactly right. Maybe a little bit of an overgreed situation in that game 6. Now, don't fret, guys. Even though the score does say 4-2 for MarineLorD, this is a play all 7. We have the 7th game that will be coming to you guys very, very shortly. They're doing the drafts. We're doing the maps. Just want to make a quick shout out to Mauve Alert, giving 10 subs to EGCTV. Thank you very much. And everybody else who decided to sub here. If you used your Prime, maybe somewhere else, a different streamer, it's okay. We're not mad. We're just disappointed. And that means that you could have the idea to get a nice little tier 1 sub to EGCTV. All of the support that goes to EGC in terms of tier 1 subs, things like patrons, can go to all of these awesome show matches, all of these awesome tournaments that we're going to keep going on farther and farther down the road. Because, I mean, 2023 is not over. Crackety, we got the EGC finals, but also, I mean, there's going to be 2024 tournaments. There's going to be tournaments all over the place.
It looks like MarineLorD is going to take a small break now after that 4-2 domination so far, before we're going to go into our game number 7. These have been some really, really epic games, so we can take a little bit of time now to talk about the remaining game that's going on here. By the way, as you said earlier, thank you guys so much for the support that we've already gotten here over on EGCTV. As Pasty is pointing out, we're very close, or rather EGCTV is very close to making Partner Plus, and the community can support EGCTV by helping out with that sub, as you said, and it's going to enable EGCTV to get that better revenue split over here on Twitch when it comes to these subs, and that makes a huge difference, actually. It helps EGCTV bring you all these new tournaments and this entire new season of Age of Empires 4 Esport that's going to be coming out. It's a very, very exciting time right now for Age of Empires 4, and it looks like actually the bans are coming in right now. Looks like both players have banned Jeanne d'Arc as a civilization here. Looks like it's just a normal draft for the last game here. Actually, no. It looks like MarineLorD got Japanese banned, and he banned Jeanne d'Arc from Beasty. Both players banning the IU bit, so we can see that the draft is ongoing right now.
It's very interesting. I think the big tell in terms of how a meta is shifting, or how the meta is perceived at this point, is what civilizations these players want to ban. You know, there's a reason why you're banning these civilizations. You're banning them because you don't want to play against them. because they might be too strong. You might not know how to deal with them yet, something like that. So it's kind of it's interesting to me as you're talking about the bans where they're going to be going and what civilizations these players might be going. I did see in chat as we have a little bit of a intermission to wait for the 7th game. Really huge shout out to Core for observing. He makes both of us look so much smarter than we are by hovering over things and catching all of the correct actions. So please, everybody in chat, give a huge shout out to Core for taking his time today to give you guys some of the best observing that we got here at EGC.
Exactly. Core W in the driver's seat for the observation. Great job, as usual. We can see now that our players are looking to get into their game soon now. We have seen that the draft is finished. And it's going to be Jeanne d'Arc versus Order of the Dragon. So that's interesting. Beasty trying the Order of the Dragon again. Looks like he's not done yet after that last game. He wants to try it once more. It's going to be on Himeyana, and that is a very, very interesting map as well. It's a very cool map. You get this little pond in the middle. Not too many fishing, shoreline fish in there. You only have like a little selection of shoreline fish. I'm not sure if it's enough to really warrant fighting over it. I think an outpost can probably range every single fishing, like every single shoreline fish there. So I don't think it's really worth going for a dock out there. Maybe a little bit of proxy economy with just some villagers getting the shoreline fish with them. Yeah, it's a very cool map. It's a very open map. You start on a little bit of a hill there, and yeah, overall, just all of these maps, they're so unique. They're really, really cool, and they're all coming to Age of Empires 4 in the next 2 days.
Oh yeah, and we're excited to play with a decent amount of these that are going to be on the ranked ladder. The rest of them will be in quick match, but this is our last game of the day. Game number 7, Jeanne d'Arc, MarineLorD in the red on the eastern side. Beasty playing as the Order of the Dragon yet again in the color yellow. Core is highlighting over this pond right smack dab in the middle of Himeyama. And it looks like for Jeanne d'Arc, for MarineLorD, we're going to see a dock. So he does think that the wood income that you need to get this dock and some fishing boats, a little bit of delay in feudal, is worth it for how many shoreline fish. And, you know, Crackly, I'm kind of on the same boat as you, pun intended, because we're on a dock. The jury's still out for me. I'm not really sure what the best play is here.
It's gonna be left to see then. MarineLorD is going for that dock play. Beasty just going for the standard feudal age approach with Order of the Dragon. We saw it working out really, really well earlier on Rocky River, where Order of the Dragon just absolutely managed to dominate with kind of ignoring water early on and then massing up a lot of units in the feudal age and trying to push out, get the dock denial going on, and the archers just doing an absolutely beautiful job there of taking down the fishing ships. And I think something similar might be happening in this game potentially here.
Yeah, and I think just because it is in the middle and there's only that one pond, it makes it a really potent point of interest in order to try to take down. So having the ability for Beasty to do that, maybe he does go, just like you said, in the Gilded Archer department. Taking a look at, we kind of focused on the pond a little bit, taking a bit in account the other 95% of this map, pretty much. To me, it kind of feels like, just because you're up on a hill like this, it gives me prairie vibes.
Yeah, the map is certainly quite a bit open now. You do have some woodlines there that are not like, you don't have these very tiny woodlines. So there are some larger woodlines out on the map that you can access. We see once again Archon Chapel coming out from Beasty. He's gonna be boosting both the sheep, the woodline, as well as potentially the stone outcropping there. And looks like it's gonna be a 2TC play out of him here once more.
Yeah, he really likes the 2TC out of Order of the Dragon. We saw it in our last game as well. Obviously, it's a different map, this one being a little bit more open. Kind of curious in terms of where he does end up wanting to put up that second town center. And notice how many villagers he's actually using on the Archon Chapel. He's got 4 dragon villagers on that thing. So it will go up rather quickly. We're going to see probably one of the fastest feudal age times that we have so far, just because of the fact he didn't go for water as well. And this means with that chapel getting that extra gathering speed, he's going to get that town center at light speed.
Yeah, and right now, Arkham Chapel, it's going to be a roughly 3 minutes 30 age up, which is very, very quickly, as you mentioned. I think it's similar to like a 6 or 7 villager age up for normal Denmark. Actually, it's 325, 6, 7. Yeah, it's pretty much 330 on the dot. There we go. It's gonna be a very fast second TC as well. All of the villagers boosted, as you said. Gonna be have a very, very fast gathering rate here. School of Cavalry now being built by Jeanne d'Arc. It's gonna be able to farm a lot of experience. Something cool that Beasty did here, by the way. He's not doing it right now. Actually, no, he is going for it once again. He's killing the wolves. That is very, very important when you play against Jeanne d'Arc. Usually would only really do that against the Roots to deny some bounty. But here you do it to potentially deny Jeanne d'Arc from getting experience. It's 12 experience per wolf, 40 for each boar. So every little bit adds up. Getting those wolves down means that you're able to play a little bit longer against level 2 Jeanne d'Arc before she eventually reaches that horse stage and is able to summon up some very, very dangerous units that you don't necessarily want to fight against.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just with the boars like you talked about, I mean, those are kind of your full dollars, but your wolves are your nickels and dimes. You know, I mean, if you as Beastie with your scout, if you're able to take down, 3, 4 wolves, 4 wolves can equal just about the cost of how much XP you would get out of a boar. So all of that XP really, really adds up. And we know for Jeanne d'Arc, when she's not doing something as a soldier in feudal age, there's only a minuscule amount of XP that she goes up. So being able to really bolster it with a lot of these outside animals, a lot of these Gaia animals, is really, really important. You can see her tick by 4 while she's continuing to build it. A couple villagers are actually going to help her out, make sure she doesn't do all the work herself. But being able to farm on this school of cavalry, again, like this is the stereotypical build order for Jeanne d'Arc. You've got to get her on that landmark.
I want to call something out. Something very, very important is happening right now. Beastie, he's walled in the boar. 2 layer, actually, no, it's only one. One of these walls, it's not connected to the entire woodline there. But he's walled in the boar with 1 layer. Yeah, there's a little bit of a gap there. But the boar is walled in, so Jeanne d'Arc is going to have a difficult time when it comes to getting the experience. But MarineLorD did not go for the melee path on Jeanne d'Arc. He went for the range path, so she probably doesn't even care about the walls. He can just shoot over the wall.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's something MarineLorD scouted. I wasn't really sure if I saw a red scout over in that particular area, and it looks like no. He has no idea what's going on. I don't think he even knows that boar is there. But now that Jeanne d'Arc is a hunter, I guess we could talk about a little bit the difference between her being a woman at arms and her being a hunter. Instead of that AoE effect, and you're taking a look at what core is hovering on the Q, she gets Divine Arrow. In Feudal Age, or in level 2, I should say, Jeanne targets an enemy and fires a Divine Arrow that deals 40 damage. And I'll tell you what, some people might think woman arms is better. Some people might think the hunter is better. But I think the most satisfying thing about Jeanne d'Arc is using that Divine Arrow and headshotting somebody. It's just the sound it makes, too. I think AoE 4 and the devs hit the nail on the head for this one.
It's a very, very crisp sound. So you trade out some AoE for some more single target damage. And the very, very cool thing about it as well is once you get Jeanne d'Arc up to level 4, the ability scales with her level. Look at that. Almost manages to get the villager out down there. It scales with her level. So at level 4, it actually does 150 damage. Mm-hmm. That is enough to one-shot Springles without the Siegeworks upgrade.
Yeah, because I mean, even though it's quote-unquote ranged at that point, and I think at level 4 it's considered siege damage, so it wouldn't get the ranged armor, wouldn't really apply to it anyway. Still, being able to take down a Springhold like that, we know how important Springholds are. We know how important siege superiority. Just having one person, you hit a Q button and all of a sudden the Springhold pops. It's incredible display. Now Beastie trying to get a little bit of trouble for this second town center for MarineLorD. He pulls a boar over, and it looks like some of those villagers are going to get caught by that boar. These are not dragon villagers. Those are normal villagers. Thankfully, one of the only soldiers that the French province has right now, one of the Royal Knights, is going to be able to help him out in that department as well. Got to make sure, though, with that scout, I think it might end up going down from that knight, so a little bit of lack of visibility, while Jeanne d'Arc on the other side is just continuing to rain havoc on the wood line. of Beasty. Really good use of the signal arrow, and probably some consecration we're going to see soon too.
Yeah, now MarineLorD, he doesn't want to immediately kill that ball there. He wants to wait until Jean d'Arc is going to be in range in order to get the bonus experience from that. Beasty now also putting up an outpost on his gold, wants to make sure that he is going to have safe access to gold there. Spearman might go down to a TC. He has a lot of bonus HP though, so probably not going to go down to a TC. Knights though, getting some good charges on him there. Take him down, only one hit going on that Knight.
And that's the difficult thing with Order of the Dragon, right? I mean, there's one Spearman that you spend a lot of resources in. If you get that caught in a spot where you don't want it to be, and that goes down, a lot of your resources gets buried with it. And even though there were 3 Knights there, and that one Spearman is a Super Duty Spearman, we'll say a Giga Chad Spearman, not going to be enough for how many Knights that are there. So a little bit of resources down. Now, military count for Beasty is a little bit higher just because of the fact the population is for 2 each, and we're seeing a rather common thing against the French, just Spearman Horsemen.
Okay, now Jean d'Arc, she did go for the range path, which means that she will be taking bonus damage from the horseman there. So the hardened Spearman, Gilded Spearman, having just so much HP, it's going to be really, really tough for Jean d'Arc as a single archer on the field right now to take him down. MarineLorD is investing into additional archers. More production buildings coming up. Consecrate, I think he already used it once. Now the boar is going to get taken down. That's some bonus experience now for Jean d'Arc. Plus 50 experience. It's a total of 500 to be able to get to that next level.
And even gets, as you can see too, even got the heal off on some of those Knights. Was able to take a little bit of damage away from one of those Spearman hits, the Gilded Spearman hits that we saw a little bit ago. Now, MarineLorD is starting to increase his archer population. You know, he's got about 6 and a couple in the queue as well. And you got to think with the Spearman, just because I think it's 180 total health, you're exactly right, like you said before. There's going to be a lot of divine arrows that go into one single Spearman, so it's good that she has some archer compatriots to help her out.
It's a lot of horsemen though right now. I think there's going to be a very, very good fight here for Beasty. First Knight gets taken down very quickly by these Spearmen. MarineLorD, I feel like he underestimated the amount of units here for Beasty, and he's going to get slain. I think, yeah, Jean is going to go down here very quickly. That's Jean down. And the Spearman just so much HP. The archers dying very, very quickly to these Gilded Horsemen.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's great about these horsemen too? Just because of how much health they have, they get a charge against those Royal Knights. The first horseman finally goes down just because of how much health they have, even though they don't necessarily have melee armor. They don't trade that badly.
Yeah, this is just... I think this is really how Order of the Dragon is meant to be played. Like, you don't go for the default HRE kind of strategies where you go for like really, really fast castle age. You gotta get some units out of the map. You gotta make use of these really, really strong units, and you gotta need them. You're gonna need them in big numbers. If your opponent's able to like completely outmass you with like a 4-to-1 ratio, then even the Order of the Dragon's superior stats don't really make up for it. You want to really play the ball of like having that better economy and being able to make up for that increased cost, but still being able to mass up a ton of them. Our MarineLorD is on the back foot, 25 military to 13 right now. Beasty is transitioning into archers as well.
Yeah, I think now with how many horsemen that are there, I think MarineLorD realizes that Royal Knights might not be that DPS unit against those horsemen like he really wants them to be. And he's going to be adding spearmen there at the same time. So we are going to see rock, paper, and scissors out of both of these players in Feudal Age. And that's what makes Feudal Age so great. Now, MarineLorD, instead of taking a fight with horsemen, he's going to take a fight with dragon villagers. And those villagers ain't doing much in the way of fight. And it looks like 2 of them end up going down, and there's a counter raid on the other side. Beasty on the eastern side, north of the starting town center for MarineLorD, gets a couple villagers down. It looks like 4 total. And Crackety, just because of how spread out this gold mine is, how spread out that wood line is, it's good raiding territory.
Definitely a spearman for Beasty now in position, blocking those knights from being able to cause any more havoc there for now. Looks like MarineLorD, he's really trying to go up to the next age as well behind it. Has a lot of food in the bank, just needs the gold now to be able to click up here. Beasty, he's also not too far off, roughly 1 minute of him just not producing any more units, and he'll be able to click up as well.
Yeah, it looks like both of these players are kind of starting to get to that area. I think Beastie now just started to queue up some Gilded Archers, which is more wood than anything, but that'll be able to help him out. MarineLorD still, maybe it was because his gold was rated a little bit before. He's been on that 1200 food or whereabouts, that 1200 food for quite some time. He just needs that gold to get there, and I think Castle Age is really going to help him out against the superior units of the Dragon.
Beastie right now is in a very, very good spot as well, economic-wise. 55 villagers compared to 58, but his villagers are 25% more efficient here. Players researched a lot of the economic upgrades behind it all. Both players have Wheelbarrow and Horticulture. Chivalry now also coming in. I'm not sure about Chivalry right now. Sure, the Knights are weak and they need some healing, but if he cancels Chivalry now, he'll be able to click up to the next age.
Yeah, I think that's something that he should be thinking about doing. And plus, as Core hovered over Jeanne d'Arc's one ability of Divine Restoration, to be able to heal some of those knights a little bit as well. So Chivalry, you might be able to hold off on it just a little bit, just because of what Jeanne d'Arc can do. But Guildhall does come up for MarineLorD. He's got 16 villagers on it, and we'll see what resource he chooses to do. But wants to take a fight in Feudal in the meantime. You know, if you take a fight around where Beastie's base is, it means you can go to castle pretty much unharmed, but you got to make sure your army doesn't get killed in the process, because there's a lot of upgrades you need to buff these guys up with.
Emergency repair could be coming in on that blacksmith. Doesn't come in. That's going to be 15 experience. Oh, horseman raids at the same time, though. Once again, villagers do get taken down. Spearman from MarineLorD arrive. It's only 2, though, but a lot of these horsemen are weak. MarineLorD chooses to fight with the villagers as well. Loses 1, probably. 1 villager goes down, but 4 horsemen go down as well.
Yeah, not a very effective trade for Beastie. I really like what he does, and a lot of the top high-level players, such as yourself, Crackety, like to do this, where you can get a circle around one of those horsemen with the villager so it doesn't have anywhere to go, and that's a lot of resources going down. Again, we talk about it over and over again with the Order of the Dragon, but every unit that you lose is very, very important. And now MarineLorD is going to try to up his own quality as compared to the Order of the Dragon, trying to get some of these veteran upgrades. Now the Order of the Dragon army is right by that secondary town center for MarineLorD, and he is consistently, Beastie is consistently harassing gold, both gold veins. I think he's doing a really good job.
Yeah, indeed. The villager count still very, very even here. That's not where you want to be when you're playing as Jeanne d'Arc. Now, next fight could be happening soon. I think this is probably the best time for MarineLorD to take a fight here. Upgrades are coming in on his units. Archers aren't upgraded yet. Gonna be doing a lot of bonus damage, though, to those spearmen. This could be potentially a lot of experience coming in for Jeanne as the villagers get sniped.
Now we're seeing the +6s of all of those villagers going down. MarineLorD, those not to overextend maybe too much, is going to back up. But yeah, you're exactly right. That archer upgrade needs to come in pretty soon, because you can take a look at Beastie's army composition. He only has spearmen and archers. You know, I mean, MarineLorD, he has 10 spearmen, but they're not necessarily going to be doing too much. On the other side, Beastie feels like he's safe enough to go up to Castle Age, and that's what he's going to be doing. He's going with the Regnus Cathedral. He has 1 relic that's guaranteed safe on that wall that we pointed out to over there on the northern side. The rest of them, though, not really much in the way of map control. I think it's going to be a struggle for him to get these relics.
And behind that, Beastie is now also investing into some of the gilded men-at-arms. It's Cathedral about to be finished. I'm still a little bit on the fence right now about MarineLorD not upgrading his archers. Oh, he's going for his own men-at-arms. That's interesting. That is actually very interesting. The cool thing here for the men-at-arms from Jeanne d'Arc is that Jeanne d'Arc is able to consecrate not just archer ranges and stables, but also barracks and siege workshops. That means that you can get some really, really cheap men-at-arms out as well. One of the barracks is consecrated, so it's only going to be 75 food for every single men-at-arm coming out of that one.
Yeah, that's 75. I mean, men-at-arms are particularly food. You know, usually at base value, they're 120. So being able to take down that food, and it gives you a little more flexibility with Jeanne d'Arc as compared to the French. And you don't need to make your production buildings in a nice little square for a keep to go around to. That keep influence, it's not there. We're only consecrating.
Oh, Monk gets picked off. Proud from Beastie is going to be securing that relic. So far, MarineLorD has already secured 2 relics, so there's not too many left for Beasty to get at this point in time. Looks like MarineLorD wants to deny that relic. Archer's a little bit out of position. Wololo coming in. MarineLorD not in a position to deny that relic right now. Defensive Wololo saves the Prelate, and with that, MarineLorD has to disengage for now.
Yeah, did you see that little stutter step out of the veteran Royal Knights too? It looked like there was a little bit of indecisiveness, trying to get that charge, but it probably would have been a photo finish, and you know that this game is sure to be over if the Order of the Dragon gets 8 veteran Royal Knights to bolster their military prowess. And based on how much military they have, I mean, we know the amount of units is pretty much the same, but 76 to 34. And this is the really wacky thing, honestly, about talking about Order of the Dragon, because you're seeing a 2-to-1 difference, but MarineLorD's the one who's being the aggressor.
Something I want to point out right now is that Beasty, as the Order of the Dragons, his men-at-arms actually don't get the bonuses from normal HRE. He doesn't get the heavy maces, he doesn't get the two-handed maces upgrade, the two-handed upgrade. So his men-at-arms actually don't get anything other than the bonus stats that all the Order of the Dragons units get against other units. So, like, the men-at-arms from MarineLorD actually stand a chance within mass to take good trades against the men-at-arms from Beasty.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it's difficult for somebody who's seen HRE for almost 2 years now wrap your head around the fact that the only thing that's with these men-at-arms is the fact that they're gilded. You know, I mean, Beasty doesn't have Mindwarp Palace either, so any kind of unique technologies, I know there's a unique technology for the Lance Connect in Castle Age, so he's not going to have the availability to do that either. Now, MarineLorD, with his army composition, is adding more Arbaletria. I guess he saw a couple men-at-arms. He knows what's going to provide the firepower through some of that gilded heavy armor, and that's going to be it. Look at this game sense from MarineLorD. Didn't scout this area, knows that a relic would probably be somewhere around here just because of where the other relics spawn. Just really good game sense getting that 3rd relic, and now only Beastie is going to have that too.
It's going to be 3-2 in the rally count, so not the biggest accomplishment here with the Ragna's Cathedral. Beastie has a lot of food in the bank, not so much gold right now. It's like Siege is soon coming out for MarineLorD, as he already has a Siege Workshop prep behind all of this. Beastie needs roughly 500 more gold to go up with the Ragna's Cathedral. Not Ragna's Cathedral, Swabria.
I was going to say, you can see the Aachen, the fields of Aachen are already there, and we saw it in last game as well, but whether it's an Aachen Chapel for the Dragon or HRE, getting farms around there is your best ticket, and you can see how much food per minute he gets from those farms that are pretty much infinite. MarineLorD is continuing to pump Castle Age units, so now we're seeing a derivation between these two mindsets. Beastie's thinking about Imperial with the 1900 food, and as soon as I say that, he queued up about 10 different units and thinks now completely differently.
Looks like Beastie knows that there are villagers nearby for MarineLorD, but MarineLorD, he's hiding the villagers in the corner here. It's not been scouted out yet. Now he knows. And with that, is he going on there? No, the army is coming just in time for MarineLorD. He bought the necessary amount of time that he needs, and now fight is going to be happening. Jeanne d'Arc is in her mounted form. We see that the 3 units have already come out for her. With that, fight is going to be happening, and it looks like this might be a cleanup now for MarineLorD as he cleans up the army from Beastie, and with that, a ton of experience is going to go over for Jeanne d'Arc.
Yeah, there were so many knights, and they're still making this front line. They were able to wrap around.
Out of range, no experience. Jeanne d'Arc is out of range. She has a lot of armor here, actually. She could take the fight. I think she has 2 armor in her... Actually, no, it's only 1 armor in the range. Oh, so be careful, though. Oh, that was a quick takedown.
Wow. All of those gilded spearmen just wrapped around Jeanne d'Arc like that. And now, without their fearless leader, MarineLorD is backing up.
To keep up on the gold there, as he originally planned. This is still a fight that he could potentially take. He's got a lot of armored units there. A couple of crossbows out there, though. They do 36 damage each shot against armored units, which is quite a bit at this point in stage. It has a ton of units in the queue right now. I just want to wait until he gets them out. Oh, knights go onto the archers. Spearmen, a little bit stuck on the men-at-arms there. A couple of archers got taken down. More reinforcements coming in now. Crossbowmen aren't in the fight here anymore, so the men-at-arms actually do a pretty decent job against all the remaining units there. 23 Arbaletria in the queue right now for MarineLorD. It looks like Beasty has changed his mind when it comes to going up to the Imperial Age. Doesn't
Yeah,
have
I
the
think
food for it anymore.
because of how that fight went with him, I mean, it wasn't a real decisive victory for him, where he felt like he could rest on his laurels and go Imperial. MarineLorD, now the turns have tabled here with this one, and MarineLorD's going to be going with Imperial Age, going to be getting that nice, juicy red palace right next to that northern sacred site. And again, going Imperial, being that age up on the dragon means you have a little bit more quality. But there's a Mango, and there's a lot of villagers, Crackety. It looks like they got to get out of harm's way. Mangonel's going to target, trying to get the villagers, ends up hitting his own mill at the same time. But now, this Mangonel going to be able to try to get its rocks off, taking down a couple villagers over there on the south end of the keep. And look at what Beasty's doing, just scattering some of those villagers. Another Mango shot comes in on the western side. These are dragon villagers, so they have a little bit more HP. You got to think a lot of them probably would have went down, if not half of them would have ended up going down. And the fact that they have that extra technology with them too, they're 98 health villagers. And the reason why keep got up was because of that.
Red Palace, 15 units inside, lots of damage coming out, and they're taking down the reinforced outpost with the Red Palace. Crossbowmen take down the Mangonel there for MarineLorD. And right now, it feels like Beasty is he's a little bit on the back foot. He does have a good enough eco count right now. 95 villagers. They are stronger, or rather, they gather faster than MarineLorD's villagers. So his economy should be not in a bad position when it comes to aging up sometime soon here behind all of this.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think for Beasty, he'll be able to do that eventually, but his military count isn't exactly, I don't think it's exactly at the level where he necessarily wants it, I mean, MarineLorD, just because he did go Imperial, he's going to have the ability to pump out a lot of units. He's getting his upgrades, which include the Elite Arbaletrie, so he's going to be going into that unit for the majority of Imperial Age that we see a lot of French counterparts do, their parent CIVS do. Now, I feel like if he stops making units and goes up to Imperial, he can get steamrolled.
And it's a very difficult position for him to be in right now. I mean, if we look at the military count, in theory, with every single military unit counting as 2, he's not in a bad position. But does he know that? Does he know that? I mean, having these fewer units, I'm not sure. This is a very tough spot right now to be in, and
yeah,
take a
honestly,
look at the map as well. There aren't any 8k gold mines here. It's only small gold mines. So the gold runs out very, very quickly here on this map.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely doesn't. It's scattered all over the place. I think it's difficult for us to call or give any kind of, hint at where this game is going, because I don't know about you, but Order of the Dragon and Jeanne d'Arc, I haven't seen this matchup in Imperial or post-Imperial yet. I'm not sure which one's better than the other one. I do know, however, out of these keeps that MarineLorD is making, both the Red Palace and otherwise, you could make some of John's units, but a fight coming in with a couple rams trying to take the relics out of MarineLorD's monastery right next to that secondary town center. Now, secondary town center did get nerfed a little bit, but still has those Arbaletrie upgrades, and Beasty finally going up to Imperial Age, going to be getting the Elsbach Palace just because he's got enough villagers. So hopefully he can get some really elite units, elite gilded units to try to take down what MarineLorD's got going on. But his military count now, for the first time probably since the infancy of this game, is now shifting to MarineLorD.
It's going up. MarineLorD, look at that. He's been placing a lot of additional town centers. All of these are getting the Red Palace emplacement. So they kind of function as pseudo keeps that are also able to produce villagers, which kind of means that any raids coming in now, MarineLorD is going to be able to very quickly replenish his villager count. First keep does go down. Elsbach still going to be up, and look at that. Outpost going up there outside of the range of the Red Palace. This one is going to get upgraded with the cannon placement.
Yeah, that Elsbach Palace, probably one of the most aesthetically pleasing, just because of its Gothic architecture, and the amount of damage it can really put out, especially with that Bombard upgrade. So BC's shoring up his gold nodes. He's shoring up some of his resources that he definitely needs. MarineLorD on the other side, he does have a decent amount of gold income and does have that guild hall helping him out with stone. So he will have a lot of stone. He'll be able to basically just disperse keeps, town centers all over the place for that Arbaletrie upgrade that you talked about.
Right now, Beasty. He's gonna be losing that Siege Workshop. Roller Shutter Triggers is about to come in from it. He's able to repair it with a lot of villagers, so the upgrade comes in with that. He's gonna have a range advantage. He might be able to take down some of these trebuchets now from range, and now the cannon placement comes in on the outpost there, showing MarineLorD is gonna have to retreat from that gold mine.
Yeah, it's the only resource node that he hasn't really shored up too much. So to keep behind it, the Red Palace is behind it, but that's not really going to do too much. Now Prelate with a little bit of a conversion, a little bit of a Wolo trying to stall this battle out just a little bit, getting their Springolds to safety. But now those elite Relettrier and Jeanne d'Arc on the back end, trying to find this relic, trying to get this Prelate down, try to deal with it, but just because of how many units the Order of the Dragon has right now, just because of their ability to deal with some of these Arbaletier, they got to back up. And if you're looking at where MarineLorD is with all of these keeps, with all of these town centers, Crackety, where can you push in? Where can you do damage here?
It's a very, very tough position right now when you're playing up against the Red Palace. You need trebuchets against this. Bombards do work against the emplacements. Actually, no, they don't work against the emplacements. The emplacements for Jeanne d'Arc, the Red Palace emplacements for Jeanne d'Arc, they still have the full 10 tile of range. So they can actually, like the emplacement TCs and the emplacement keeps, they can take down the bombards. You need trebuchets. It's necessary. You cannot go for bombards.
Yeah, and I think MarineLorD obviously heeding your advice. We saw the elite upgrade come in. It looks like there's a decent amount of arranged mass over there for the Order of the Dragon. There were some horsemen trying to get us around, trying to take down some of the archers, but man, those things just fire too quickly. Those horsemen actually got picked off pretty quickly. Now, you did talk about trebuchets. MarineLorD's got about 4 in this particular area trying to take down keeps, even though necessarily Beasty should be going for them just because of the Arbaletier upgrade. You saw that bombard just completely go to smithereens, and he queued up another.
On at the moment, looks like she died at some point. She's not being revived yet. Depending on her level, that might cost up to 1,000 gold right now to get her back out on the field. It's like it's MarineLorD right now. Can't really afford that. Market positions are still heavily contested at the moment. There's an Elsbach Palace covering one market. There's a cannon tower on the other market. There's a little bit of a fight between a Springled outpost and a Red Palace TC there. Villagers get found out with the keep going down. It's going to be a couple of villagers going down, but Beasty, he still has a very, very good villager count overall. It's not going to be too fussed about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got about 125 villagers, and it just shows how tanky those villagers are, right? Core is looking at the sacred sites, both north and the south one. I think for MarineLorD, it's all about shoring up this south area. You know, the Elsbach Palace is a little bit of the southeast position, not necessarily helping with the sacred site. It was more so helping with that past gold node that was there. But this sacred site, now that there's no yellow keep in the vicinity, it might be ripe for the taking. And I know a particular hero that can take it, and that's Jeanne d'Arc. She should probably get over there.
Yeah, look at that. MarineLorD defending that sacred site. Now with another TC, it's going to be another Red Palace emplacement there. With that TC going up, it's going to be very tough for BC to take this position here. Looks like MarineLorD is now focusing on that Elsbach Palace. There's a relic inside, so it does have some extra boosting going on there. Also in range of a TC for emergency repair. Slowly but surely against 2 trebuchets. Without any repair, should be going down. It's going to take its time, though. It is going to be a while. Ram's also coming out now from MarineLorD. Might want to start trading here at some point in time. Horsemen's around on the archers. Doing a great job of picking them off.
Yeah, you know, for how much health those archers have, they're not able to get completely surrounded by the horsemen, but definitely you're going to decrease some of the archer count. You're going to make sure you don't get that critical mass. Now, Mangonel shot does come in for MarineLorD on the north side. Beasty doing a good job having a staggered rotation. Beasty with bombards on the south side takes down that Red Palace-esque town center. And now there's only that keep over there on the eastern side. This is going to be the contested place for battles going forward. Emergency repairs did go on that Elsbach Palace, but he does have only, I think, 2 trebuchets. We're firing on that Elsbach Palace. So again, with those emergency repairs, it'll take a while, but it just means you're not repairing other things, right? And you're so focused on that Elsbach Palace, which is on the southeastern part, where that sacred site is now the point of interest. That's what we should be talking about.
Sean, able to get a lot of experience here, now on the front line again. Might be able to soon get up to the next level here on her journey. Just trying to push forward, might want to get onto Jean here. Trying to pick off the Arbalète for now, doing a good job with that. More horsemen coming in. Men-at-Arms getting spawned out of thin air. Able to do some bonus damage against these spearmen. It's only going to be a matter of time until Jean is going to get upgraded now to level 4. It's a little bit late in the game for her to get upgraded, just because she wasn't always there when the fights were happening. But very soon she will be getting her hand cannon attack, and with that, she's going to gain a lot of additional power here.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought she was, if she wasn't going to be, or if she wasn't level 4 already, she was going to after that fight. But we do know there was a lot of downtime for Jeanne d'Arc. There was some deaths going on there. Now, MarineLorD is really just bent on trying to take down this Elsbach Palace. Emergency repairs does go away. He's funneling pretty much all of his military to this particular area to try to take that down. There is a nice gold node over there, so if he is able to take the Elsbach down, and it looks like if emergency repairs does not come back online soon, I think he's got a decent amount of time before he can queue into it, and now he cannot. That town center is now down, so now that he's able to take that, no emergency repairs are going to be there. Those trebuchets just have free reign.
Exactly. It's going to go down. Behind all of this, the Sacred Side victory is going to be approaching. MarineLorD has held both Sacred Sides for the last minute. It's going to want to place an additional TC once again on that second Sacred Side, and is behind all of this pushing into Beasty space.
Yeah, and I think this is MarineLorD's real time to shine here with all of the army that he has. Beasty just got pop capped once again and does have units in the queue. He's going predominantly for spearmen and archers. Not really sure, just because those are elite gilded spearmen, 24 of them. We're going to see if it's enough between all of these horsemen, but horsemen more so looking for raids than anything else. You can see them going down to the south.
Beasty was liking incendiary shots here on his archers the entire time, so that's a lot of damage missed out on those archers. Jeanne d'Arc still not on the level 4 here. I feel like she must have gained enough experience by now from all of these fights. Takes down the spearman here. Still not there yet. Some raids trying to be done here by MarineLorD in Beasty space. Springle actually taking down some villagers there on the top side. Slowly but surely, these villagers will be going down. And MarineLorD takes a relic here. That's going to be his 4th relic.
Yeah, that's actually really huge, that 4-1. But now we're going to see another clash near more so Order of the Dragon territory. Arbalète in the back from MarineLorD trying to fire on a lot of these spearmen, but no bonus damage to be had. These spearmen have a lot of HP. You can't just brute force through them with something like Arbalète, and I think MarineLorD is starting to learn that. Look at that, 312 health. Unbelievable for spearmen. These spearmen act like, you know, they have just as much as elite knights do at this point, but trying to push the initiative now. He backs up to where the Red Palace-esque keeps are for MarineLorD on the eastern side. I really like MarineLorD's strategy here, what he's doing, because he has both sacred sites, and sometimes the best defense is a good offense. He's just trying to take battles in Order of the Dragon territory.
Level 4 has come in, ability gets used, so all of his units will now have some additional attack speed for a short time. Lots of attacks coming out from the Arbalète. And Jeanne d'Arc, the next time she's going to be summoning units, it's going to be accompanied by a cannon, potentially. 3 champions and a cannon.
I don't know where that cannon comes from, but it does spawn right next to her. And we'll be able to rain. And of course, if Jeanne d'Arc, just because of the mobility, you can get back to particular areas where a cannon can just shoot down different kind of production buildings, economic buildings, stuff like that. And it will be going off in about a second if MarineLorD has the presence of mind to hit it. And also, it has another function as the button just got hit. That cannon's going to pop out. There it is. Pops out of nowhere. Going to be able to take down that outpost. And what Joan can also do, which they used prior in the beginning of this battle, was to increase attack speed by 35%. Those Arbalète were able to do that in Imperial. Now with that damage bonus and the attack speed bonus, you're able to make quick work of 312 health Spearman.
There's a couple of villagers there in the bottom corner, just gathering wood for now. I feel like this is going to be a very, very deadly push that's going to be coming in here. John doing a lot of damage here with her cannon attack. Basically a mounted hand cannoneer at this point. With the ability to also spawn in these units. And the cannon doing a great job here, just one-shotting the backline with the archers there from Beasty. Trying to take down the arbaletier, but not able to. The front line is in its way. The arbaletier just doing a lot of damage, and now the raids coming in on the wood lines as well. This distraction might be the last remaining thing that MarineLorD needs here in order to close the game out. And all of the sacred side ticking. 4 minutes remaining. 5 minutes remaining. I'm sorry. 5 minutes remaining on that, so still a little bit of time left, but it is still ticking in the back of Beasty's mind. And there's some more TCs coming out from MarineLorD. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 TCs out right now. That's a crazy amount.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is the best way that MarineLorD could have played it. You know, I mean, he's taking off offensive battles. He's doing all of this. So behind, he can make all those TCs. And with all of those TCs, that Sacred Timer going down to about 44 minutes and 30 seconds, Beasty has had quite enough of this Game 7. Jeanne d'Arc did reign supreme with her mounted hand cannon prowess of level 4. And MarineLorD will be taking Game 7 against the Order of the Dragon. Man, what a great match we just had.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I mean, this was better, I feel like, for Order of the Dragon compared to last time, but it just goes to show that Jeanne d'Arc right now, she is not messing around. That is a very, very strong lady in the late game. And yeah, it's a lot of very cool, unique bonuses for Jeanne d'Arc. And look at the income right now. Beasty. He has so much more income, so many more resources, at least when it comes to food and wood here. And in the middle of the game, it felt like Beasty was able to kind of come back, like get a little bit of a foothold again, push out. MarineLorD just being absolutely dominant there, just keep pushing in. And it is so tough to like get in raids against a civilization that has the red palace emplacements on the TCs, on the keeps. It really feels like you need that big static push coming out in order to finally get rid of those keeps, get rid of these TCs with trebuchets. And that's just very, very difficult to do because these trebuchets are very, very slow, can be sniped out, and yeah, it's just a difficult position to be in, and MarineLorD makes use of that, takes game number 7.
Yeah, you know, you're exactly right on that point, because I remember there was a part in the later stages of the game where I actually asked you, I was like, what do you do? Where do you push? Where do you go? Because I think if I was in BC's situation, I'd be like, I don't have it. I don't know. I'm not quite sure where to actually go or what to do. But MarineLorD does take, with all of those Red Palace upgrades, does take that Game 7 with a show match final score of 5-2 in a play all 7. I'll tell you what, Crackety, I had a blast in casting with you for the past 3 hours. I had a really good time.
Thank you, likewise. It was a really, really epic series that we had today. This play all 7 between MarineLorD and Beasty. But fellas, there is yet more to come. The new DLC is going to be launching in 2 days, 14th of November. You can pre-order it right now. It is definitely worth it. We've seen all the civilizations here today. It is definitely filled to the brim with content. And there's going to be the next tournament just around the corner, the EGC finals. We're going to be having the qualifiers very, very soon. So don't forget to tune in for those once again over here. Thank you guys so much for watching. 10 for Tim, thank you once again for casting here with me today. Don't forget to follow EGCTV. Don't forget to subscribe to EGCTV as well. !Patreon in the chat in order to get linked to our Patreon. Over there, you can support EGC directly. We're going to be sending you guys over to Beasty right now, as he is still in his Sabathon right now. He's been streaming for what, probably like the last 2-3 days. He's been online pretty much nonstop.
Yeah, he absolutely was. Fantastic content over there at the Beasty QD channel. So make sure you send him love from EGC. Also, guys, don't forget Core for observing all of these past 7 games, making it look easy and making it look easy for us to talk about these games. So, Crackety, it's been a blast. Thank you for everybody at EGC. And hopefully, we will see you guys very soon with ETC Finals qualifiers. It's going to be a great time.
See you guys then. Have a good one.